Yeah.
I actually changed this to 5 stars when I rewatched it because it was
Oh,
four
you
and a
went to
half. I
5. Oh,
I
okay.
changed it to 5 because I'm watching. I'm like, I'm enjoying this too much. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Interior Analysis. I'm Angel Michelli,
I'm Evan Westman.
I'm Jelani T. Kelly.
and today we're going to be talking about the new Knives Out movie, Wake Up, Dead Man, which may actually be, upon this rewatch, my favorite of the 3 Knives Out movies, which I know might be sacrilege to some people, but honestly, like, because what?
Because of Christianity.
There's a lot of getting the religious themes early.
See, this is why me and Jelani are so good together, because I make the jokes and then he notices them.
Oh, he notices everyone. He's been doing that to me since day one. If we had a nickel for every time I stumble into a pun and Jelani catches it, we would have more money than we've actually made.
We would have employees, yeah.
We would have employees.
We would have a studio. We'd be making our own movies at this point.
Honestly, we should. That's going to be our next episode, guys. We're going to make a whole movie.
And then interior analyze
it. Just about Jelani noticing jokes. So we're going to be talking about Wake Up Dead Man, which I really, really loved. Honestly, I've loved this whole series since it came out. Knives Out 1, for anybody who's seen it. It has such a really interesting take on the whodunit with the way that they kind of subvert your expectations in the middle and then kind of get you to stop thinking about the mystery and then bring it back around. It's just so good. It had a great cast. Second one did something very similar, but in a very different way with a whole different setting. And this one feels very much like a very traditional Agatha Christie type mystery, which is what a lot of these are based on, with its very small town setting. It's kind of very traditional setup. Honestly, the way that it mostly focuses on the ensemble cast as opposed to the detective, which I really appreciated. I like that they give everyone else time to breathe before we even get to the detective part of it. But the mystery is always at the center. Josh O'Connor is amazing. I loved him in Challengers, and I need to watch him in more stuff because, honestly, he gives the best performance in the entire movie. He's just...
Was he Judd?
Yeah, he's Judd. He's the main character. He's got such good comedic timing and chemistry with everybody. He's so sincere.
I was going to say this later. It's not a dig at him, but he does kind of look like a human version of Alfredo Linguini from Ratatouille.
Oh, shit. He totally does.
No, he totally does.
I thought he's
got the face shape.
Yeah. And the ears, all of it, the nose, yeah.
No, honestly, but he makes it work. He has an intensity when he needs it, but also an innocence to him that gets you on his side. It's so good. And his chemistry with Daniel Craig is crazy. I think this is the best chemistry that Daniel Craig has had with anybody in the franchise so far. And I think some of that is how they write him. They write him a little bit differently here, which I want to talk about later, but it's definitely a little closer to what I think people expected from him in the early Knives Out movies, which they didn't necessarily do. He's a little more detective-y in this one, but I think that makes sense for this, and he doesn't lose his empathy, which I really appreciated. This movie is also one of my favorite parts. This movie is so funny. This movie is definitely... I laugh the most at the jokes in this compared to any of the other ones. Everything that Glenn Close's character does is just so hilarious. I don't know what they got her what they did with her writing, but it's just every line from her is just so crazy, and I love it. But anyway, I want to get to your guys' initial thoughts too, because I've said a lot.
Before we go any further, we haven't done it yet, but I should warn, I think we're probably going to potentially spoil the other 2 Knives Out movies too, in talking about the series as a whole. So for people, because you don't have to see them in order, but for those who maybe this is your first Knives Out movie, just know that going into this, and we have episodes on the other 2 Knives Out movies as well.
But not with me.
Not with Angel. But they're
I'm
still
not here
good
for
episodes.
those.
They're good in spite of the lack of Angel. But we
Yeah.
had to save him for the one where they talk about angels and Christianity and stuff. We
Exactly.
We knew in advance.
Yeah.
Because,
you only brought me on for this episode. I'm actually fired after this.
Oh yeah. Godzilla -1 to this to Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man. It was all planned. It was all planned. And then there will be a reveal at the end where you'll see. We'll play clips from all the past episodes.
Yeah, it was all because as you guys know, I'm half Godzilla on my father's side, and then
yes.
And so,
Angel, why'd you have to write that like a bad exposition line? Come on, do better than that. You did an as you know. This is why he's leaving, guys.
I'm just gonna go. Good night, guys. Woo! Magic.
That was great. Yeah, Jelani, do you want to go with your initials or?
So this is my second time viewing. I first saw it when visiting my mom and stepdad in San Diego for Christmas. I told them to hold off on watching it until we were there. One, because they pay for Netflix, and Netflix did that nonsense, for lack of I'm just showing restraint there with that word. Nonsense where you have to be in the same household. So we told them to hold off watching it till we were there. It was a fun time. My mom was the only one who gets to kill it correctly. I guess Kerry Washington. I guess Vera. I was way less entertained this time around. The poster does go hard AF though. This poster. Once I saw it, and I was like,
the grave and the framing. It's just
and all of the cast, like, because you don't know who's actually dead, but like that's fire. Once I saw the poster, I think I was the first to share it with you guys. Once I saw the poster.
Oh yeah, no, I think you were. Yeah, because they did like the teaser. I mean, I've been looking forward to it for a while, but I remember you sending it to us like when they released the poster. Yeah, it's really good design, and it's a good title too. Like, it seemed weird when I first heard it, but then I'm like, oh, actually, this is not bad. Like, and I think they also lessened the whole Knives Out mystery in the marketing. Like, it's there, but I think they actually made it like smaller, because that's what he wanted to do initially. Was like, he wanted each one to have its own title and to not be, like they're all Benoit Blanc mysteries, but he didn't want everyone to be like Knives Out 2, Knives Out 3, because they're standalone. They're not direct sequels to each other.
My last thing is I hope they continue to cast actors I know by name in these movies. Maybe one day I'll know every name on the cast, but like every time they make a new one of these, I'm like, half of these names I don't know, and I feel like I should. Because I'll go in like comment sections of like posters or teasers and be like, oh, I remember this person from this show I've never seen, and it's just like, oh man, maybe I should know who it is. Like, I didn't know who Josh O'Connor is, and the guy who played Lee, I forget his name.
Andrew Scott.
Yeah.
That's because you didn't make it deep enough into Sherlock.
Everyone,
probably not, honestly. Yeah.
This one might have the most. I think I only didn't know 3 names though. I think this one out of all 3 is like the only one where I knew most of the people here, for one reason or another. A lot of them are connected to the MCU.
I think in the main cast, I knew everybody except Daryl McCormack, because like I don't know what else I've seen him in, but everybody else has been. Yeah, he's Psy. Yeah, I didn't know him from anything. He was the only one that I really didn't know. I'm trying to see what else
I think he's probably the least known out of everyone. Like, it seems like he's done some stuff, but everyone else has been in, like, I mean, even Kaylee Spain, pretty new, but she was in Alien, Romulus, and Priscilla. She's rising.
What's the Civil War? Civil War.
The Civil War. I knew what you were about to say. I just couldn't think of the name. But yeah, Civil War. Yeah, I think that's where I know that, and Alien are where I know her from the most. She's really good too.
I don't know if I put this in my notes at any point, but I also feel like the moments for like some cast was given a lot more to do than others. Like, I don't feel like Kaylee Spain had a lot to do at all. Kerry Washington had that one moment where she was revealing that Psy was. That Wix was Psy's father to everybody. She had that one good scene, but like I feel like those 2 specifically weren't given much to do.
Agree.
As like for like an ensemble cast.
Yeah, I think is like partially because of like the way, like, you can't give everybody a spotlight, but like, I mean, if you look at like Jeremy Renner too, I feel like his character had the least to do. I think at least Kerry Washington got that moment.
I think he had more to do than Kerry Washington.
He definitely.
He did.
But
he did. Like, it was only by a margin, but like they gave him extra moments that he probably like didn't need, because I feel like the character itself was probably the least explored, or at least explained.
I think he's the least interesting too.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. We learn a little bit about his backstory, and then he's just kind of there, right?
And then he
Like,
ends up being spoiled. Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
He ends up
yeah,
being one of the
we'll
killers.
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I think part of it, like, because I was kind of, I remember coming out the theater. I watched this with most of my family, and I think they said very similar things. They were like, "What was Kaylee Spaney's character doing there? Like, we didn't need her there." I don't agree with that from a story perspective, but I think a double-edged sword that this and I think all three Knives Out movies run into is you have these big casts, which it's cool that Rian Johnson can get this many. Like, even the smaller names are still known to some extent. And I think it's kind of part of the trick that he's pulling is like, because in some cases for a mystery story, you're like, oh, you're not going to cast some nobody as the killer if you put, some big name. Like, if Chris Evans was the only big name in the first Knives Out movie, we might be like, oh, yeah, I mean, of course it's Chris Evans. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to
exactly.
pull some nobody and be like, have them be the killer. So I think it's part of it is that the cast is big enough that, like, any of these actors could be playing that big of a role.
Honest Trailers figured out the formula. They kind of cheated. They metagamed it.
What? I think I saw that, but remind me what it was.
So take out Benoit Blanc, take out Daniel Craig, take out who's ever, if you're looking at the poster, take out who's ever helping him, because you'll know that from the trailer. And then who's ever third build, it's that person. That has been the case for every single time.
I hope he's seen that then.
Because it was true for Chris Evans,
Ed Norton.
Thank you. Blanking. Ed Norton and Glenn Close.
You know what's crazy? I couldn't remember who it was in the last one for the life of me. I haven't seen it since it came out, but like, I think that one's like the most forgettable of the mysteries.
Oh yeah.
So far.
I've heard such mixed reviews on like what people's favorites are, because like I think with a lot of like movie people I know, like Jelani, I know you and I think David, when we talked about Glass Onion, we were like, oh yeah, Knives Out 1 definitely better. Well, actually no, you said that. David might not have. I think David might have been pro Glass Onion, but everyone in my immediate family was like, oh, Glass Onion's way better. And that is not an opinion I've heard echoed broadly, but like in my family, they were like, "Oh yeah, Knives Out 1, get it out of here. Glass Onion, goated."
No, my brother and I.
It's
still
bigger
love this
and
one.
shinier, I think, is the
Even
thing.
after this
And
one.
like also, one thing I did like about it when it came out is I felt like it used the ensemble cast better, because Knives Out 1 had a big ensemble cast, but not everybody really got to do a lot. They were just kind of there, like I mean, I don't remember anything that Michael Shannon's character really did in the first one, but he's a big actor. Right? Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of the same thing. Like, they had a lot of times where they were, like, talking and, like, doing their acting thing, which was cool. But, like, most of the attention was on Ana de Armas and Chris Evans and Daniel Craig. Like, even Lakeith Stanfield didn't get anything to do in that movie, which is crazy. Like, that's the part of it that I didn't like, was, like, he just had nothing going on. Second one, everybody was kind of very distinct, had very, like, big, lively personalities.
Nah.
So I appreciated that. I feel like I remember it being like that.
What did Leslie Odom Jr. do? The black guy.
I forgot he was in it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
There you go.
And there's a reason you forget that he's in it, because he has like two good lines, and that
No, you're right.
I haven't seen that since it first came out either.
I haven't either.
I feel like it won't hold up as well.
Before I forget, I found out this time Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this film as a baseball announcer. And I had no idea until I was looking at the cast list and I saw him. And if you listen to the TV in Samson's garage or whatever, you can really hear it, and it's great. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He makes a voice cameo in all three, and then we also get our three-peat of Noah Sagan's character as the bartender in this, which I think officially makes him the Bruce Campbell of this series. Like, if we're comparing
That's crazy.
he's the Mysterio of the Knives Out movies. Do you guys remember in the other movies what he does?
Yeah, he's
No.
it.
Okay. In the first one, he's the like sidekick to Lieutenant Elliot, like Lakeith Stanfield's sidekick, who's like a big fan.
Oh,
where Lakeith Stanfield's like, oh, I don't really read much. He's like, oh, I'm a huge fan of his work.
Oh,
and
right,
then,
okay.
In the second one, he's the Big Lebowski looking dude who's just kind of there in a couple of shots where like he's just hanging around the mansion, but like just doing nothing the whole time. He's kind of like a fun red herring.
Oh,
That's
I
cool.
forgot about that.
I forgot
And
that
Norton's
too.
like,
I think he.
Yeah, he's here. He's just going through some stuff, and that's really it. But like, he's just
leave him alone.
there.
He'll be gone soon.
Yeah,
We have Thanos, Hawkeye, Sandman.
Oh, we do have Sandman.
Everybody's wearing it's like in Birdman where they're trying to find a cast member for the show, and he's like, oh, everyone's in a cape now.
Oh, Kerry Washington was Alicia.
Yes,
Thing's
Alicia
girlfriend
Masters,
in
yeah.
Fantastic Four. So we have her.
Yeah. She's really good. I want her to be in... I mean, she's in a lot of stuff, but I want her to be in more stuff.
Yes.
There's also a confusing continuity thing with this casting. Some internet friend, I think, pointed out Jeremy Renner is named in Glass Onion. I think Ed Norton says, like, oh yeah, I have Jeremy Renner's hot
I saw that
over here. So Jeremy Renner exists in universe. What does it mean that Jeremy Renner is playing a character? And I know it like is kind of doesn't matter.
I was watching the Cosmonaut catch up this year.
I didn't finish. I just started it. Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped to like some of the stuff I've seen, and I knew we were talking about Knives Out, so I watched that part, and he's talking about like, yeah, there's a Jeremy Renner hot sauce in there, but Jeremy Renner is also playing a character here, so there's two guys that look exactly the same, but one is actually Jeremy Renner, and the other one is some guy.
It's his evil twin.
That's the thing with having big actors, though.
Yeah, and maybe if he name drops somebody else, he'll be able to pull him for the next one. Only a couple other notes. So I didn't really go through mine, but I saw this in theaters with my family at Thanksgiving. Best movie of 2025 for me. I think it's definitely my favorite Knives Out movie at the moment. I haven't revisited Glass Onion since it came out, but I think for many reasons that I'll get into in my topic, like this is probably going to stay my favorite. But I don't know if I'd call it the best necessarily.
Holland.
I mean, we don't get enough of that in this. So
there's not enough for the accent or him saying nonsensical words like buttress.
Yeah.
Buttress it.
Yeah. They definitely like toned it down a little bit in this, but still he's still Blanc.
He still has some good vocab words that he drops.
He says Scooby Doo
sure.
Doo.
Scooby Doo. My favorite moment with him is after Father Judd gives his like, all right, everyone, here's what's gonna happen, and then he comes in. Oh yeah, thank you, Father Judd. That was very good. And he like goes off.
That's my favorite Josh O'Connor moment too in that, because I remember that from I think the first trailer. Like they might have put that in the teaser trailer. I'm like, oh, this dude's gonna be great. He's gonna be so good in this.
My favorite with him with Josh O'Connor is the reaction shot in the first confession with Wix. No, with Wix, when he's like telling him about how many times he's jacked off, and he's like, that's so you don't have to.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then
I like his reactions with Martha.
With Martha, yeah. Well, also like during that confession scene, the little look down where like he's about to shake his hand, and he's like,
yeah,
fine.
His
Everyone's thought at the same time.
Whenever he gets jump scared by Martha, it was hilarious. Jesus. Sorry for saying Jesus.
Constantly taking the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And what's funny too is like you think Martha would give him shit about it. She never really does. He's always giving himself shit, which I love.
Yeah, we need to bring Chris Evans back to go. Language couldn't get him back.
Also, very cool. I like that these are standalone because there's very few references to the other ones. Like I don't know that the Kentucky Derby case that he was talking about was even a reference to anything that we heard about in the other movies. But like the only reference we get is a call out to Lakeith Stanfield's character, who's the one who gave Mila Kunis his Blanc's number.
I have one more note before we get to topics. I'll bring up a lot more than usual my Catholic heritage, Catholic upbringing, I guess.
Scene, dog.
Word. Yeah, well, I mean, if there's any episode to bring it up. But I noticed one factual error, and I talked to my mom about it afterward. They say that they have a Good Friday Mass. I happen to know from going to a lot of Catholic school and serving at several Good Fridays, Good Friday is the one day of the year where you do not celebrate Mass. You have services to some extent, but it is specifically not Mass that day. Rian Johnson,
I forgot about that.
will bring this movie down to a 0 out of 10 because I really don't care. But I did catch it. I was like, oh.
How good of a Friday can it be if there's no mass?
I mean, it's very it's a whole thing. There are like reasons for it that I don't really remember.
First topic I want to do is my topic, because I think it ties into the beginning really, really well and the setup for everything. So my topic is picking the right protagonist. There are some films that are guilty of not doing this, where they pick the least interesting character to follow. One example that is a movie maybe nobody has seen is Hot Summer Nights, which is a movie with Timothée Chalamet and another actor whose name I can't remember. But that other actor is a much more interesting character than Timothée Chalamet's character. So the movie winds up falling really flat, in my opinion, because they just follow the wrong person. In this one, they pick the absolute best possible protagonist that they could, and I love Father Judd so much. Obviously, each Knives Out movie kind of has its own central protagonist. A lot of mysteries do. Marta was in the first, played by Ana de Armas, and then the second one it was like Helen / somebody else. I guess we're going to spoil the other ones a little bit. Yeah, so like Helen / Andy in the second one, who was played by Janelle Monáe. Both really great performances, but I think that the most well-rounded of those, and therefore the best so far, has been Father Judd. All of his conflicts are set up like within his first scene. So the first scene is him punching that priest during voiceover. He punches that priest, and then he is put in front of that disciplinary council. It sort of establishes his
Jeffrey Wright's
worldview
in
being...
Oh yeah, I love
Jeffrey
that
Wright
Jeffrey
is in
Wright's
this.
in this. And him calling Cy punk ass bitch at the end was so great.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And you know what's even crazier about that too is I think he's the one actor that can show up and just have a cameo, and I still don't feel like he was wasted. That's how great his screen presence is. Like, he makes such an impression just from those, like, he's in what, 2 scenes? 3 scenes, maybe?
2.
He's so great in both of them, and he works so well. I'm not even mad, honestly.
I'm not either.
Like,
I love it.
But anyway, yeah, so he has that scene where he punches the priest, and then he sits in front of the disciplinary council, and they express that they believe it is their job to combat the world. Whereas Judd then expresses that immediately that he doesn't agree with that, and he thinks that they're here to guide the world, giving broken people like him a chance to find redemption and peace. So it sets up his character and his philosophy super well, and the dueling philosophies at play within the movie. So it's already perfect. He's got this really great quote right there that says, "You start fighting wolves, and before you know it, everyone you don't understand is a wolf." Like, it lays out that, like, the church, and Monsignor Wicks especially later on in the movie, has this philosophy of, like, fear of the rest of the world. Whereas he wants to work with the rest of the world to, like, bring people to redemption. So they already established him as the most authentic and genuine character through all of his interactions with everyone else. Like, the way that they set up with the voiceover is really, really organic and well done, partially because you're also seeing, like, he's not just laying out the suspects by describing them. We're actually seeing him go out before the crime even happens and, like, go out and get to know all of the constituents in his community. And he's meeting them where they are, too. Like, even somebody like Cy, who is a terrible person, he's literally listening to his entire crazed perspective about everything and is trying to change his mind, but he's not telling him, oh, you're just wrong. He's actually, like, saying, like, maybe we should try this instead, a little softer of a philosophy. To which Cy responds with one of the... back to basics. And then Cy responds with the worst possible thing that anybody could ever say, which is, wait, you mean showing people something they hate and making them afraid it's going to take away something they love? Because Cy is a monster. And
when he
they
lists
established
all
that...
of the angles he tried,
so
I was just
good.
like, that is all of the angles.
No,
and
it
he's
really
so
is.
baffled. I tried everything. I hammered
tried,
like the immigration thing, the race thing, the trans thing, DEI
thing,
CRT.
He's naming shit that I would have never even thought of, and I'm like, wow, this guy is crazy. Honestly, there's a part of it that made me think of, you know how they say, like, in Nightcrawler, Lou Bloom is, like, almost like a capitalist demon? That's kind of what this guy is, but for politicians.
Yes.
And it's honestly nuts that, like, it's so good. But that's also crazy because, like, he's the actor I knew the least about, but he makes such an impression just from that one scene, and then his performance throughout the rest, it, like, adds to all that. It's just, it's so good. Like, all he wants is power.
He also sounds like Anakin Skywalker, and that's distracting. But continue.
You think his
does
voice,
he?
like, he sounds like Hayden Christensen?
Yes, he does. A lot.
I don't know that
I
he
can
sounds
kind of
like
hear
Anakin
it.
I don't know
I guess.
about that.
I'd have to. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind for the next time. I'll see if I agree.
Yeah,
Not
don't
movie
picture-
Anakin.
Don't picture
Not
him
movie
screaming.
Anakin. Oh yeah.
They didn't
Does he
vote
even-
for
Oh,
me.
he does.
I
scream.
hate them. They're like animals, and I slaughter them.
I'm gonna die. Anyway, I was talking about other characters. Besides Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, but the whole point is Judd is meeting all these people where they are, and he's actually trying to understand them, which is like the exact opposite of what most of these other characters are doing. Like Father Wicks, as we all know, is also
Monsignor.
Monsignor Wicks. I should
Is that
know
a higher
because I did-
title than Father?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like he's like the head honcho. Yeah. Although it's weird. I think we called our Monsignor growing up Father, but whenever we called him Monsignor and then his last name. So it was Father and his first name, and then Monsignor and then his last name. But he was a little more informal, so maybe that was why.
So as an outsider, why not just like make it like Super Father or something so it's less confusing? Because I don't.
Super Father? I don't think that sounds as good out loud as you think it does. Super Daddy.
That's so much worse.
I know. That was the point.
No,
That's
that's not what that's calling him Daddy Wicks. That's not what I. That's
I
not
don't
what
know.
I
I don't.
said.
Evan, did you hear? I heard him say "daddy" first. That's what I heard.
didn't say Daddy.
I'm just thinking that's the bargain bin Superman knockoff movie.
Super
Super
Daddy.
Father. Yeah. Super. Oh, yeah.
But
So
yeah,
what?
I'm-
So is Judd a senior then? If
No.
Monsignor is.
No,
No.
so Monsignor is not spelt. It's not spelt senior.
I
like,
know. I
No.
had the subtitles on, but like.
I don't quite know what the distinction is.
it's just a higher title. It's below like bishop and deacon, which would be more.
Deacon's
like,
lower
the,
than a priest, though.
Yeah, I thought Deacon was low. Deacon's
From what
like
I know of
assistant.
it, it's like deacon, priest. I guess Monsignor's above that somehow, and then bishop.
Where's
'Cause
Father?
Well,
Father
a
is
father
priest?
is a priest.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
if somebody's a priest, you
Yeah,
call
a father
them
is a
father,
priest, yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
And then if somebody's a deacon, you would call them deacon, whatever. But there's different rules, because,
Yeah, Deacon's like assistant.
yeah, and deacons are allowed to get married. From what I know, they're one of two things. They're either like a priest in training, or they're like somebody who has taken some form of holy orders, but if they're married, like I shouldn't call it leveling up, but they can't level up beyond that, because if you're married, you can't be a priest. But like,
They can't
I've
evolve
known,
into Raichu.
yeah,
No Charizard for you. Friends.
yeah, you got to stay at the Pichu level, or
They
whatever
gave
it
him,
is.
What was it Eviolite, Everstone, or something?
I don't
Yeah.
know enough about Pokemon to continue this
Eevee,
bit,
and
but
then We're just
No,
mixing
it's
up
an item that stops your Pokemon from evolving. That's
oh,
what
okay.
Oh yeah, there is one. No, there is one. Yeah. My point is like Judd is great. He's authentic and genuine. Like I said, through his interactions with all these characters, like he sits there and he listens to them, no matter how crazy their views might be. In our opinion, he just tries to like really understand them, because it's his whole philosophy of like healing the world and working with people instead of sort of hammering your own philosophy into them. That also adds to his conflict throughout the entire film. He lays it out really well, like the difference between him and Wicks is like Wicks is creating this environment of fear for his own ego and his own desire for power. He even says it. It's weird. Like, it's the most honest thing that he says in the film, I think, is during that first confession. He says he envied his grandfather's power as a priest. And that's really interesting, because as I'm watching it, I realize, like, wait, he actually did. That's the whole reason that he did this. He keeps saying, this is my church, welcome to my church, and, like, everything is his. Like, he kind of rules over it like a king however he wants. And Judd feels, like, really conflicted. He wants to follow orders, but he also has a whole different philosophy about how all this is going down, like how he's running this flock, like he says, and he is open about it and honest about it, and he struggles with his own, like, past violence and everything, and
I hate the way they make him hold his hands. That's not how you hold your hands as a boxer. I don't know why they made
No,
him
it
do
is
that.
not.
He-
No, it's
he's
not, but I
doing-
think
he's
it's how
doing
people...
old timey. Like that's not how you box.
His
bro.
whole body is leaning forward too, which is like not really
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do either. Like he's not balanced.
He's not
listen,
covering
guys,
his
cut him some
face.
slack. He had to learn how to do tennis, and it's hard to transition mediums like that.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's combining tennis and boxing into one thing. Yeah.
I think
we'll talk about boxing more in Daredevil, though.
Mon Jr. I think that's a good.
Mon Jr. Judd.
Oh wait, I'm just kidding.
I'm almost tempted to change my name right now to Mon Jr., but I like Sleepy Time Alive Man.
And then there's also Mon Freshman and Mon Sophomore to round it out.
That's true. Oh my god, I love it. Maybe that's what a deacon is, a Mon Freshman.
A Mon Freshman. And then even below that, you've got Mon 8th grader.
The church
We're gonna get so canceled by Christians after this episode.
I don't think we're being disrespectful.
I don't either, but some people.
No, we're giving them ideas. That's what we're doing. I'll go to my old church and be like, listen, guys, I had some ideas to lay out.
So Mon Freshman.
But anyway, I want to get into your guys' thoughts too, because I've laid out why I think Judd is such a good protagonist here, but I'm interested to see if you guys agree.
Let me start, because you started off the topic with, I don't think this movie would work with anybody else as protagonist, and that was like my question for this topic. I was like, would this movie work if there was a different protagonist from the cast? Like, I considered Vera, honestly, because like, I honestly do think Judd was the best.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Did I say
you
that?
started off the topic.
Oh.
You were like,
I must have misspoke then. I think he's like perfect for it. I do think obviously that there could be other people that would also work. I just think that no one is going to work better than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was considering Vera because she didn't seem to have a strong connection to Wix, or maybe Simone because she wasn't even given anything to do. But Vera's a strange character for this film because why is she there? You know? Like,
yeah.
Well, her dad was Wix's like drinking buddy. Like she has a very personal connection to Wix.
I understand that. But she's still attending the church and listening to his thing. Like, she doesn't seem like a follower. Like, even just her character doesn't seem like the type to follow like the rest of them. Like, they all have their reasons for sticking around. And
I know
they
what
feel
you mean.
vindicated in doing so, but she doesn't seem like the type to, like, just take what Wix is giving.
Yeah. I'll bring this up again probably in my topic, but she's kind of the one character... I talk about the whole character web in my topic, so I'll save that. But she's the one I can't figure out. And I feel like she's kind of only there just kind of for plot reasons. And that's too bad because everyone else, like, we've kind of been saying, like, not everyone's giving equal, like, attention. And across the other movies, like, that's been true too. But I feel like she feels more clumsily included than any other character across the whole series that comes to mind for me. I don't know if there's more that I could think to do with her, but it's not like clumsy. She doesn't overstay her welcome, but it does raise the question, like, why have her here at all? Maybe there's another way you could, like, fill the, like, plot function that she has, or even reduce her role. Like, maybe don't have Kerry Washington there. Like, if you need a character to bridge us between, like, Sai is born, Sai is here, then I don't think that character needs to stick around. Like, sure, you could keep her exactly the same, and then she's just not, like, part of the ensemble, and somebody else finds out.
Or, like, the main cast, right?
Like, even just turn, like, I don't know, like, turn Dr. Nat into, why does he have to be a doctor? Make him a lawyer, and he finds out through this thing. It's less strong because it's not a family connection, but even just, like, I don't know, you could do it a little differently, I think.
Well, the doctor thing came into play with the murder because he was like, "Don't touch him."
Yeah, I don't know. I think
him being a doctor is fine. I think
there might be some way. I think there would have been a cleaner way to do it. I'll only defend Rian Johnson on the point that I think everything else here works. So, like, the fact that he has one slip up, like, I feel kind of bad for Kerry Washington there.
Yeah,
I feel
my takeaway is just give Kerry Washington a bigger role.
Yeah. Like, I'm disappointed on her behalf, but otherwise, like,
Agreed.
I think everything else works well enough that I can give that a pass as an audience member. I feel a little bad for her as an actor.
I agree with you guys on that. Like, there's not really as much of a reason for her to stick around. If anything, there's a million reasons for her, like, thinking about it now, it almost feels like if there were deleted scenes, they would be for her connection to Wix a little bit more, because we don't really see them interact too much outside of that one big scene that she has, and like there's not really a reason for her. We don't see her getting pressured to go to church. We don't see Sai having any kind of desire growing up to go to church either.
He's not connected. Yeah.
She doesn't seem especially devout. Like,
No, she's not. And she doesn't seem to have put together that connection until she confronts Wix with it. So if she'd put together that connection, I could then see her thinking like, well, maybe the kid should know his father in some capacity, right? And that maybe it's been building up all these years. But she clearly doesn't. She and Sai find out at the same time. So Sai also didn't know.
But she also hates
pressuring
Sai, so
her to go.
she
And she does hate Sai, too. So, like, yeah, I definitely think that they needed to show more of a reason for her to stick around. Maybe Wix, like, does know and is insisting that they go because he wants a connection to his son. But based on his personality, I also don't know that that would work because he, like, doesn't care, really. He doesn't really care about having a son. He cares about having an heir. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, as a person, all of his motivations are selfish. So
she also dropped
like,
the only F-bomb. Shout out to that. Shout out to the NPA.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah, but no, I definitely agree with you. I gotta be honest too, I don't really know that Dr. Nat has as much to do as we think he does. Like, yes, he ties into into like the actual murder plot, obviously. But I think other than that, Jeremy Renner is kind of just there, being Jeremy Renner. We don't learn a lot about him other than that his wife left him. We don't even really see him hanging out with Wix all that much. Like, I think we learn a lot more about Lee and his motivations than Nat.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
like Lee doesn't really do anything in a plot sense, but I think he makes a much stronger, like his presence is much stronger thematically. Nat,
Yeah.
I'll get into this. I don't see a ton of thematic meat for Nat, but he just does a number of plot things, and that seems to be most of his inclusion.
When he starts saying we exist,
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
And
it was so clumsy, but also, like, so entertaining to watch, too. Like, because he's also definitely been drinking before that. He's drinking all the time. So that's why. Like,
well, I think it was really good acting from, I forget, you remember Lee, his name?
Andrew Scott,
when he, because I saw it coming, but I think it was really well done with that scene where they're all, that scene behind you, Angel, and he, eventually like finds reasoning through himself speaking to still support Wix in spite of, like, was it before or after he says something to them and Vera's like, I know you're all gonna still side with him anyway. Oh yeah, they just learned he fathered Sai, like, outside of everything.
Yeah.
They were like all finding their own reasoning
to just swallow his
to support him regardless, and him starting that and showing the twist. And it's like he was persuading himself through it.
Yeah. No, I know exactly.
Like he just started talking and he was like, no, it makes more sense to still support Wix. Like,
yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. And then the rest of them followed suit.
I feel like all of them kind of do it a little bit too. Like, obviously we already know Sai is, like, on his side at the beginning of that scene. And then, like, Nat too, I think the way that they do it for both him and Lee, it kind of ties into the whole patriarchy thing. Like, we see Vera and Simone sort of as, like, they're both being taken advantage of. And Vera especially, like, she talks about the whole boys club thing, right? How, like, her dad saddled her with this responsibility just to protect his friend.
Also, that's an insane thing to do to your child.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah. I did like how in the voiceover they said, "Oh, it's very obvious to everybody that Sai is Vera's illegitimate brother," which we find out is not the case. But Judd wouldn't have known that, and it's a good red herring because it kind of makes the most sense based on the information we're given at the time. But we're learning, we're kind of unfolding that as they uncover the mystery.
Also, his name is insane. Cyrus. Is it Cyrus?
I think so.
Cyrus.
Yeah, I think it's Cyrus.
Draven. That is an insane name to just have an average person.
Do they ever
name.
say his full name in the movie? Because I only remember them calling him Sai. I had to look up his full name. They might say it once, but I had to look up his full name because I only remembered Sai.
That sounds like a name that would be in The Witcher or something.
Yeah, it's a very sci-fi protagonist name.
Cypher Rage.
Yeah.
Cypher Rage, yeah. Every sci-fi protagonist is either like John or it's like, Cypher Rage or whatever.
John Wicks. John Wicks.
John Wicks. John Snow.
John Wicks.
John Senior Wicks returns.
John McClane.
Someone photoshopped that poster.
There's a lot of Johns in action.
There's a lot of
John the protagonist.
There's too many Johns. No more Johns in stories if we can help it. I think we have too many. I was gonna bring it back to your because we've been talking a lot about the minor characters, which is fine, and getting into some critiques, which is also fine. I'm saving most of my thoughts on the minor characters for my topic, but I wanted to compliment the inclusion of Father Judd here, because I do agree with you that he is the right protagonist. I will second your point, Jelani, that I think if anyone could have also been a protagonist, it's Vera. She's the only other choice that makes any kind of sense to me. He didn't go that route.
They couldn't have done Sai because it wouldn't have made we wouldn't have made sense until the reveal.
And we wouldn't like him because we don't.
No, because Sai's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, influences, yeah.
There's some other contenders, but...
Lee.
I don't think they're strong contenders. And keeping with the
I think Lee's
theme,
pretty close. Lee's a pretty shitty person, too.
Oh, in terms of how bad they are, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were saying in terms of other potential protagonists. No,
as far as everybody else, Lee's probably the second worst out of all of them. Yeah. But they're not all bad people. I think Vera and Simone are good people.
Yeah, agree. Just picking, a priest... good choice. Maybe an obvious one, but a good one. But then he also does a lot to design him well, I think, for a foil to Wix, mostly, and a foil to Blanc, too. Because you kind of have Marta and Blanc at odds a bit in Knives Out, where, Marta's having to deceive him. In some ways, she's not necessarily, pushing back against him, but she's sort of having to dodge around him a bit. As far as I remember in Glass Onion, Helen and Blanc are basically just a team there. There's not really contention between them.
And we only see that in the second half, too, because we have to wait for the twist in the middle.
Yeah, really of the three, you were saying at the beginning of your topic, this is your favorite, or you think, the strongest of the three, Knives Out protagonists that we've had. I think a lot of the reason for that is there's more tension on them. Marta's in the background for the first 20 minutes of the first movie and then becomes the protagonist, so we get plenty of attention on her. I think she's very good as a protagonist, no shade there. Helen doesn't really become our person until, you guys said, halfway through. That one, of the three, Glass Onion is definitely the one where we are in Benoit Blanc's point of view the most.
Oh, absolutely.
And they play around with it, but he's our guy in that one in a way that he's really not here. Because I clocked it this time. He doesn't really show up. I think there's one shot of him at the very beginning, but then he doesn't show up for 40 minutes. That's
I had forgotten.
I clocked it. 39 minutes exactly. Not exactly, but in the 39th minute he shows up.
I forgot he was in the movie for a second. And then he showed up.
I don't think he's in a clip early on either. I think all of it is just he doesn't even appear until that moment, which it's such a good choice because you're focusing on the person who really matters here, which is Judd. It's a Benoit Blanc mystery, but Blanc himself is meant to be a vehicle to connect all of these and to drive the investigation. But that investigation should be done by somebody who is emotionally invested in it.
And there's so much more ideology that plays into it here. Thematically, you have to set up what the values of this church are in a way that you don't in the other two, because there's a bit more ideological diversity in the Thrombies and the Disruptor crew in the first two movies. There's not this overarching, you have the kind of head person with Harlan and
Harlan.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Every time.
Harlan was cleaning house. But those two, Ed Norton, Miles Braun, that's his character in the second one. Those two are kind of the figureheads in those two movies, but they aren't controlling the people below them, or at least aren't like influencing their life philosophies in any way.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, there's a lot of opposition to those figures from the minor characters. There's a little bit of that here, but you have to really establish like Wix is the like center of this community. Like,
His
everything
character,
revolves
yeah.
around
He's
him.
the figurehead. He's the godfather, right?
Yeah, and with him as the victim, you can't bring in Benoit
God,
Blanc to that.
Father.
Yeah. Yep, God and Father, both things that are mentioned a lot in this movie.
God Monsignor.
The Monsignor. Yes, we can make as many puns as we want with that.
No, God Monsignor. So
I
like,
thought you were
have
looking at God
Godfather.
for a second. I thought you were like looking up to God for a minute.
Guys, our surprise guest on this show.
God, Yahweh himself.
I think he's like obviously a really good foil to Wix. I think one of the most important things with that is his like ultimate backstory sin of killing out of anger, because anger is Wix's whole thing, and to know that that's like a vice and a sin that Judd is susceptible to, you can see the temptation in those like couple scenes, like the one confession scene where it's like he really wants to hit Wix and Wix is egging him on. It brings out that like dark side.
I mean, and then Wix hits him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wix hits him first, and then
Hard.
but he doesn't hit him back. It says so much about his character, like his strength of character, that he holds back the entire time. Like, he could probably take Wix apart,
Demolish him.
but he doesn't, because that's not his way. That's not what he wants anymore. He wants this method of healing as much as he can, you know. And he even does it with people that he clearly doesn't like. Like, I don't think he likes Martha, but he tries to understand Martha. He definitely does not like Sai, but he definitely tries to understand him. Like, the only one he seems to like other than Blanc is like Samson.
But Samson, he
Yeah,
says,
he's
is like the
chicken.
one good person, which I don't think he's the
Yeah.
only one, but sure, maybe the
No,
best of them.
I disagree. Like, I really think that, like, Vera's got a lot of anger herself, but she's a good person. She was saddled with a really raw deal, and Simone's a good person, too. She's entirely a victim throughout the film, you know, until the end, when, you know, she... One thing I do want to point out that I think is so funny, I was talking about how Glenn Close has the best moments in this movie. I love the moment where
Simone
Simone
stands.
stands up out of the chair.
Oh,
She's
it's
like, oh, it's a miracle. And she's like, I can walk, Martha. It
So
just
good.
hurts.
Or the
Oh,
rocket
man.
ship.
But- yeah, I hate it. These kids painting rocket ships all over his grave.
And then the look between Samson and Judd, they're just like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's not correct her.
Her crying in the... You know what's crazy, too? Her crying when they're talking about, like, the locked room mystery part, and her crying, like... You can tell on a rewatch that is, I think, her trying to distract them and get them to leave so they don't figure it out. But then at the moment is just so funny where she's like, all this talk of robots, it's not religious. You have to go. They have to leave now. It's so good. I love this movie is so funny.
She's great. The only other note I had on Judd as a protagonist is that I like that he's also... I was kind of getting into this, but he's also opposed to Blanc, where he can kind of like... I wouldn't say Benoit Blanc has like a full character arc here, but it's nice to see that bit of change where like Judd calls him out on his ego. He's like, no, this is a game to you. Like, you just want to like win the game. You want to solve the mystery and have your big Hercule Poirot moment. There are bigger things, or there's more than that happening here than just getting the right answer.
Like, this is my life, but this is also other people's lives besides you.
Right. I don't think I really clocked all of that first time, but there's so much, like, because everyone's hinged their hopes on, like, Wix's authority to some extent. Especially, I noticed this with Simone more. She said something like, I need him to be alive. Because I think they don't spell it out, but I think her logic behind that is, if he is... like spiritually powerful enough that he can be resurrected, then I can be healed. Like, there is a lot riding on this for her, and I think Judd understands that for all of these people. Like there's kind of there's an investment there that he probably sees as misguided, but is still wanting to like be of service to them in some way, like minister to, like, have that be part of his ministry. I don't think they spell all of that out super cleanly, and I think that's fine, but it's another good part of his design that he's opposing Blanc.
I like how you're doing this.
You know, there's kind of different points. Yeah, I guess I sort of am.
You're doing the boxing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But stance he had. Anyway, continue.
It's nice, and like I like this pattern that's been created with the like Benoit Blanc sidekick characters of like they're good people, and I put that in quotes because it's not somebody that we would automatically think of as like our good-hearted protagonist. They have an edge to them. They like swear a bit. They have to do illegal or like underhanded things, and my favorite thing with it is that they're in really complex situations where the right thing is not clear. Especially, I like that in a religious context here, because that, I don't know, I'll maybe get into some of this in my topic, but I always found it like a little bit frustrating growing up in like religious spaces with religious stories where it's like the right thing is always very obvious in so many of those stories. And I find that even with the best intentions, you can't think about morality in such simplistic terms in a complex situation. You could almost look at all of the Knives Out movies as parables to some extent, I think. And I love that they are very complex parables for our time that deal with like the complexity of modern people and modern life.
Look at the first one as an example, like with Marta. Like, when you find out that it seems like Marta is the one that killed him, did you want Marta to go to jail? No. Obviously, none of this was intentional, but she would go to jail if anybody found out. So you kind of want her to get away with it in that sense. But it's a complicated thing, because technically, as far as you know, she did kill Christopher Plummer.
There's also kind of a like tension in all three movies, I think, between what is legal and what you can take to task in an objective sense versus what is right. You kind of were pointing to it with Marta, where it's like it would be wrong to send her to jail like we kind of are meant to think that it would be wrong to send her to jail when it looks like she is the objective murderer, like cause of death.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. We also have it at the end of Glass Onion, I think, with Benoit Blanc saying, like, this is out of my jurisdiction. I can't pin anything on Miles Braun now. We have no evidence. So then Helen takes it into her own hands and starts breaking things. Like, I think now that we have 3 Knives Out movies, we can see, like, those are 2 patterns. Also, Noah Sagan's apparently going to be here in every one of them.
In every one.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But I like those as, like, if that's what is going to be the hallmarks of a Knives Out story, those are all elements that I really like.
I also, we talked about this a little bit, or I mentioned it a couple of times, but I like that they're writing Benoit Blanc a little differently here. The fact that they had him show up so late, again, it's showing the focus on the protagonist, on the ensemble cast that are actually involved in it. He's, again, sort of a vehicle. But they're actually making him seem a lot more competent in this one than they do in the other 2. Like, in the first one, like, we see a lot from Marta's perspective, especially after we find out about the crime. So we're seeing it as, oh, he's just not figuring this out, even though any other detective in his situation probably would have figured it out by now. We're just rooting for Marta in that case. In the second one, he literally points out in the first scene, I am not Batman. I can't just figure this out, like, with 2 clues, you know? Like, he points out, like, he can't do it. They kind of paint him as sort of this, like, okay detective that's not very good. In this, he's a really good detective. He's figuring stuff out super quickly, like you would in like a traditional detective story. But I think because the characters that they're focusing on are the people actually involved, I think it works better in a lot of ways. Like, in a way, going back closer to a traditional whodunit might actually have been a strength of this. I don't know if you guys agree. I think pedaling back a little bit and making some elements of this a little bit more traditional in like terms of a whodunit might have actually added to this, because they got to focus more on the themes and the characters than sort of just like only subverting expectations, because they still got to. subvert, but it's just a little bit different.
I personally am happy with that. I am glad that he got to focus more on theme here. I think based on his topic, I think Jelani's going to disagree with me. And I think that's a fair reaction that I'm sure he's not the only one who has it. Not to speak too much for you, but personally, I am good with, like, you can scale back the, like, twistiness of your mystery because you're giving us a bit more theme.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
No. Do you want to wait to elaborate until your topic, or do you want to say more?
Oh, wait.
I had one question that just occurred to me, and maybe this is the time to ask it since we're here. Is Benoit Blanc's, like, detective superpower curiosity? Like, if Sherlock Holmes's superpower is deduction and Batman's, I guess, like, is forensics, if we want to talk, like, detective skills, his, like, skill is forensics, is Benoit Blanc's curiosity? I don't know if I have enough to stand on there, but it's occurring to me.
I think it's his accent.
Certainly helps.
I agree. It's definitely his accent, and in this one, it's also his hair. But I think more so, at least for me in this one, maybe it's because I'm focusing a lot on how empathetic Judd is, but I think in this one it was kind of his empathy, because I like that the first time we see him, he can figure out immediately that Judd is not the one that did this, because he has this line, you're not like a guilty man in torment, you're an innocent man tormented by guilt. Like, he can immediately clock, just based on, like, deductive clues, but also just, like, the way that Judd is coming off, he can figure out right away that, like, this is not the guy. No matter what anybody thinks, no matter what the evidence says, is, like, this is not somebody who is in a place where they're going to willingly kill somebody even if they hate them. And it's also speaks into, like, how he brings him into the rest of the investigation. Like, I like that he is giving all of these scenarios, like the locker room mystery scenarios, to him and the chief. And, like, the chief wants to dial back on, like, how much this guy's involved, but Blanc has already decided that Judd is not the one who did this. And, I mean, in any real-life situation, Judd would not have been allowed to be involved. Like, he's still a suspect. They say that multiple times. But Blanc understands people enough, just like Judd does. And I think that's why they work so well together. They both have a real desire to understand people. So I think that's really his greatest strength, at least in this one. I don't know if it would be that in the other ones. Maybe not.
I think there is an extent to which it is. Like, I'm wondering, now I'm rethinking it, and maybe his, like, power is, like, being a good judge of character, almost. Because I think that's something we can say of him across all three movies. Every time the, like, good person that he's with is cast as the murderer for one reason or another, he's always the one defending them, and maybe he's saying, like, okay, I can't tell you who it is yet, but I think it's a combination of curiosity and that judge of character thing, where he's like, I don't think it's you, and right now we don't have enough evidence to say for sure, and, like, maybe it's also kind of patience to a degree. I think, like, we all kind of have decried how little Lakeith Stanfield gets to do in the first movie, but I think he is kind of a superior, like, cop character to a lot of others, even to we don't really have one in Glass Onion, but certainly to Mila Kunis's character here. Like, she's much quicker to jump on, like, all right, I need something, like, I gotta arrest somebody, let's just keep going with this, it looks like it's Judd, let's pin it on Judd. And Lakeith Stanfield, like, is playing that same role, but he's done his homework a lot more in that movie, where he's like, look, I get it, like, you're having fun with this investigation, but come on, man, like, I did my job, look at how let me point out to you how much I did my job. He's not being lazy, and I think we could use a little more of that energy from Mila Kunis here.
I think she's written more traditionally, like how they would portray a cop, and because a lot of these cops are basically like, I need to arrest somebody, I need this to be over as quickly as possible, because it's a numbers thing, right? And they do a lot of that on, like, certain cop shows, like The Wire is really big on that. That's
Gone Girl has a great dynamic with that too, with who are I don't know what their names are off the top, but they have a good, like, investigative cop who's really doing their job, and the other one who's like, let's just fucking arrest this guy, come on.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the Kim Dickens character is the one like actually
Yeah.
trying to figure out what happened. Even though she doesn't like Ben Affleck's character, she's like still trying to figure it out, and like the other guy's just like, well, it's got to be him. Like it's always this guy, right?
What happens when Blanc is wrong? What if they pull the rug out from under us one of these movies, and the sidekick that's helping him is the one that does it? Where he's like, I don't think it's you, and it is them. What happens then?
That could
If
be
he can pull it
interesting.
off, yeah. Because I was even wondering that this time. Like, because we've kind of had, at some point, you do lock into, like, okay, Judd is Armada for this movie. Like, he's our POV character. And I think there were a couple points where I was like, I'm not convinced it's not him.
Yeah.
I think it's a trick he could still pull. He's going to
Well,
have
they
to do
almost
it real
got me when he said, "Why did you do it?" Like halfway through it.
Oh yeah,
when he
and then
hit
it turned
the
out he
thing,
was just covering the
yeah.
drinking. Yeah, but
Fortified.
yeah,
himself.
I think if they'd done that this time, it would have been kind of a betrayal of the character. Like it would have just been pulling it out from under us just to do it, and I think it can be hard to pull that off in the series now because Blanc establishes such a connection with each of these protagonists, even if they have a good reason for why they did what they did, objectively, right? Like it would still be a little bit of a betrayal because I think it's undercutting what we just established might be Blanc's biggest attribute as a detective, and it also undercuts like our trust in Johnson, and it might just feel like a twist for the sake of a twist that no one saw coming. Because he's done so well with twists in all three of these that like maybe he's just like, well, now I've run out of ideas. If he could pull it off, that would be great. I just don't know how he would do it.
I think he's 3 for 3 with these. Not everyone might agree with that.
Yeah.
But, like, I think he could do it. There was a question I didn't really have associated with any topic, but maybe this is a good time for it. Do we think someone other than Rian Johnson can make a Knives Out movie? I'm kind of inclined to say no.
No one off the top of my head for sure. Like I can't think of anybody immediately. I'd be like, oh, this guy, right? No, I don't think so.
You mean as far as just detective work, or
I'm saying a
balancing
Knives Out movie
comedy,
specifically, not necessarily like a good mystery. There
like
are other
in
people who
tone
could
and
do
everything?
that. Yeah, like that have kind of like, could he pass on the
Balancing
series to something
the
else?
comedy and the drama, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the way that like Star Wars doesn't belong to George Lucas anymore, or like there have been however many people who have made Alien and Terminator movies. Like, could he hand off these movies to somebody else in that way?
Lord and Miller?
There, maybe. I think
Maybe.
I'd trust them more than almost anyone else. Them or like
That's
Gillian
not-
Flynn would probably be the two I would be most like trusting of.
Yeah, I think Gillian Flynn's a
mean?
little more serious though. Like, although actually, Gone Girl has a lot of really good comedic moments in it.
Yeah, I don't think she could
So-
match the tone quite as well. Like, she checks the boxes in terms of like good mystery, good social commentary. I don't know if she definitely doesn't share Rian Johnson's sense of humor. Not to say that she has none, but it's definitely a different
No,
kind.
it would just be her own sense of humor, which I think would be okay. Like, I mean,
Right.
Gone Girl is very funny. Like,
It
there's a lot
is,
of really
but-
good comedic moments in it.
I don't think she could like imitate his style. I'd rather they like. I know you guys clowned on me for using this phrase last episode. I would rather they stay separate from each other and do their own thing. Please don't cancel me again for saying it like that. But I just think it's true.
Let's just take separate out of your vocabulary, huh?
Yeah, you're not allowed to use that word anymore. Like
Listen.
several words you're not allowed to use.
Give me another word.
You have not been given the pass, Evan.
Someone buy me a thesaurus and I'll try to find another word. But until
You can't use thesaurus either. That's offensive to dinosaurs.
Okay, well, I'll be canceled in
their
the
word.
fucking Paleolithic era then. Or whatever it is. Jurassic period, Cretaceous.
You don't even know the period.
And now
Wow.
we can't do any Jurassic movies or Night at the Museum.
I'm devastated. We already did the one good Jurassic Park movie, so.
Land Before Time, all of that's gone. Thanks, Evan.
Oh, Land Before Time. I don't. Okay, whatever.
I love Land Before Time.
I don't even know if I got through those, but we had them on VHS when I was a kid.
Jelani, why don't you introduce your topic?
My topic is losing the mystery on rewatches. So, I said earlier I was bored on this rewatch. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was on my phone for some of it. I think the biggest thing for me is I don't think I get it. I mean, after reading Evan's notes, I do a little more, and we'll get to that. But I don't think I understood it. I can take a guess for who Wix is supposed to be a metaphor for. I mean, as far as like the message and metaphor and all of that.
Okay, I was gonna say like thematically or just like the
Yeah.
plot.
No.
I was gonna say they do explain it. They explain what happens.
Yeah.
It feels like you fell asleep.
Walking out the theater. Wait, but who did it?
I thought it was a rocket. I thought it was all those rocket ships.
But in the case of what he's preaching and the people that follow him, I think it could have been presented in a clearer way. I just felt like I was along for the ride watching the first time, but I just felt kind of lost. And then diving more into the mystery after knowing who does it, I think you have to have those hints given to the audience along. We've discussed it with other mysteries before. I don't know if it was Knives Out or anything, but having those hints given to the audience along the way to carry the film on rewatches, or have the comedy carry it or something. We mentioned a couple of funny moments. There is some levity to this film, but it's not really a comedy. Of course, I have to make comparison and reference to Clue. You know this is coming. In Clue, the mystery isn't even half of the fun. It's the dialogues, the dynamics, the comedy, the moments, the quotable scenes, all of that. Now, in this movie's case, I don't think it was meant to be like fun. Like, we have moments, yes, but I think that's perfectly fine, because I think it's trying to say something in place of that, which we have also mentioned. But that lack of fun doesn't make it enjoyable on rewatches for me, or it didn't make it enjoyable in the second rewatch.
Was there not enough levity, is what you're saying, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not to say, as I was saying before, it's not to say it doesn't have moments of levity, which it does. The flesh and blood, which is why my name is what it is. And he was saying jiggly wiggly, and then Scooby-Doo is another, and the Martha jump scares. But in my case, it's not enough to like warrant a multitude of rewatches. I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of any other mysteries I like go back to and like rewatching, even though I know who does it, other than Clue, because that's like one of my favorite movies. Perhaps it'd be more fun watching with someone who had never seen it and watching them try to guess who the killer is while I have the knowledge of who did it. I still think the best one is the first one still, even though I've only watched that twice. But I also love the cast, and I said comedy of the first one. I don't remember. It's been a while, but I remember laughing.
It's funny enough. The second one's funnier, I feel like. There's more comedy in it.
I think they're all kind of comedy second. I would agree that Glass Onion's
Yeah.
probably the most comedy heavy of the three.
I don't remember.
No! It's just dumb! Still the best moment in the entire franchise.
I don't remember. I mean, I've only seen it once, so it probably doesn't help, but I don't remember any comedy moments from the second one, but that's because
That one, the one that I just said.
Yeah.
You got that. What else?
Yeah, but you remember it now, because I said
Birdie,
Yeah.
please tell me you don't think that sweatshops are where they make sweatpants. That was my favorite.
I don't remember that
thing
one.
from.
I forgot about that one. Oh, that's so good.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it. There were some good lines, and I think you kind of have pointed a little bit to my main response, which is, I think if you're going to make it rewatchable, you need to have something a bit more than the mystery to bring us back.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want that, because there's two tests of any mystery story to me, and I think to most people. The first one is, on the first time around, whether it's reading it or watching it, does it take you on an entertaining and twisty ride that keeps you guessing? That's always like the number one test of a mystery. I think all three of these Knives Out movies pass that test very well. The second time around is you're testing, does everything hold up? Are there plot holes? Sometimes you can tell as soon as you're done with it the first time whether that's the case. Sometimes it takes a second time. Then on that second watch, you can also sometimes pick up like, oh, this seed was planted here, and you get the fun details on the second time. That's true of also, I think, any movie with a twist, whether it's billed as a mystery or not. I think you do run into a problem with both like mystery stories and anything, like we kind of talked about it with The Departed, where that movie is so plot heavy that like you're not allowed to mess up if a mystery or like a twisty plot is your one thing that you have going for you. If the plot doesn't hold up, you kind of lose. If you have something else, like Clue has great comedy. I think we talked about with that episode. Does the like reveal hold up? Who cares? It's a great
Right.
time. Like nobody cares if that mystery is airtight.
Yeah. Well, Clue had 3 different reveals.
Even better, more time with Tim Curry and the rest.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. But,
nobody's
like,
mad
literally,
about
the mystery
that.
literally doesn't matter in Clue because there's 3 answers.
Yeah, if somebody makes like, I totally debunked Clue. Like if you make that video, fuck off. Like nobody cares.
I'm inclined to agree. It's so good. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I think a Knives Out movie doesn't, for the most part, none of them really have enough to get away. Partly they're just like, they're loud as can be with like, we are a mystery. So for one thing, like it's in the marketing, it's in the presentation, you gotta deliver the mystery. But also like, I think you're making a good point that they are not funny enough to bring you back for the jokes. This one, to me, personally, is good enough that I'll go back for the themes. I wasn't even thinking about the mystery, really, first time, because I was so locked in on the theme. I'll save that for my topic, but I know that's just a me thing. I mean, maybe not just me, but it's not an experience that everyone is going to have. With other stories, like, I think there are... The main thing I thought of was the Harry Potter books. Those are all mystery stories, but you don't really go
Just
back
Right.
to them.
Just Right has a good video on that.
Yeah, and I think they're very good mystery stories, but they have way more to offer. There's like a ton of character stuff. There's huge world building things that are happening
Tons of lore.
to the point that like I think most of those mysteries hold up, but like I won't get into this here. Goblet of Fire is a really dumb plot. It has some of the one of the worst villain plans ever, but I still enjoy that book because there's a lot of other things that it has to offer. And I think you kind of need that. Like, a mystery plot is not always the best move, I think, for your genre story, but it can help. Like, Minority Report does that, and I think that makes that a stronger story. But it has more than just the mystery. It's dealing with, like, this cool sci-fi concept that is interesting on its own, and also just, like, lends itself well to being a mystery.
Sorry, I just realized I think my book is a mystery. The one I had you read the first 3 chapters of, there's a mystery plot to that.
As I recall, there was one pretty strongly set up. There's at least a lot of, like, unanswered questions that you present.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I think it's kind of a question, you know the answer to this, but, like, if you continue that throughout, then I think you can call it a mystery. Mystery elements, I think, are something that many stories should take from, even throughout like long-standing series. Again, going to Harry Potter, like there's a mystery set up in the first chapter of the first book. Why does Harry survive Voldemort's killing curse? That is not answered until like 2 chapters before the end of the last book.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones has that too. Or at
What
least
the hell is that? That's what the mystery is. What the hell is that blue thing walking around?
Yeah, well, I think also you have, at least in the first season of Game of Thrones, you have why was Jon Arryn assassinated?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, why was Bran assassinated? Or
attempted.
like attempted.
Well,
So
wait, we kind of know.
We had the answer
why.
for that.
No, we know why. The characters don't know why.
Yeah.
it takes a bit for us to find it out, and I don't think the rest of that series, like, eventually you find out the Baratheons' true parentage, and then it's like nobody cares after a couple more books or seasons. They kind of drop the mystery, but it's a good way in, if nothing else. Like, my main takeaway here is, if you want your mystery story to be one that's rewarding to revisit, or that people are going to want to revisit, you need more than just a good mystery. You need character or theme or a genre.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like, it's necessarily a failing to not have that, Because sometimes a good mystery on its own, that's all you need. It might not be good second time around, but the first time's great. Like,
Is there a movie like that?
I think these kind of are. Like, I've seen the first Knives Out, I think, 4 times now. Third and fourth time, not as good.
Yeah.
Because the fun of it is going on the ride. But I remember sitting in the theater for the first Knives Out movie and just being blown away by, like, I have no idea where this movie is going, and I love it. I cannot guess any of this. And that's the mark of... I think that's the Rian Johnson sauce. Like, there are very few people who I think can... I've said this in the other Knives Out episodes, too. Every mystery story is in conversation with every other mystery story that has come before. So the more mystery stories that there are, the harder their job becomes. Mm-hmm. And Rian Johnson somehow has gone 3 for 3, at least in my book, being able to navigate that crazy web and making just enough twists, but not too many, and giving us a, like, twisty, unpredictable ride 3 times in a row. Maybe he could do it a 4th time, but I won't be that upset at him if he can't. It's a tall order. I couldn't do it.
I think jumping off that, and to go back to The Departed a little bit, what I think we talked about in that episode and what I think works so well is, like, it's not a mystery story. I think there's a lot of temptation to make anything with cops or detectives a mystery story, but there's really not a mystery at the center of it. We find out more information later, like we kind of find out that, to spoil The Departed a little bit, the FBI informant thing, which, I mean, if you know anything about the setup, as far as, like, the real true crime sense, like, you probably can kind of guess that anyway. Like, it's not super surprising. It's more that we care about the reaction that the characters are going to have to it. And I think that's why that movie, like, I notice new things every single time I watch that movie, but they're never tied into the mystery, because there really isn't one. They're more tied into the themes. And I think that's why, like, for me, as far as the mystery sense goes, none of these movies so far, none of the Knives Out movies have had enough within the mystery itself that I saw extra stuff past, like, maybe, like, the second watch. Because I've watched this mostly, like, I think this is, like, technically my second full watch, but I watched a good chunk of it last week, too, and just wound up having to stop, like, toward the end for some reason. But I've basically seen most of this, like, 3 times, and I think mystery-wise, I wasn't super surprised this time around either. I think my main reasoning is we never really get hints here about anything other than motive with a lot of these suspects, and I think that can be a little bit of a weakness here. Like, Vera, to me, had the clearest motive, but we didn't see that until that big reveal scene in the middle, where we show Sai's footage, and, like, he's sort of laying out that he was going to, like, take everybody down. So then Vera has a motive initially, but then everybody else has a motive too, just, like, which is basically just, like, self-preservation. Vera's motive is the strongest, but what we don't see a lot of is means or opportunity with everybody else, because we kind of still don't know exactly how he died. Like, we think that it's the stabbing, but we can tell that there's more going on there immediately, so we also need a little bit more hint about, like, means and opportunity. We never are pointed to any specific suspect other than maybe Vera, and I never once thought that she did it. I think there's a lot of the middle where, like, they're trying to figure out even, like, kind of how he could have died in plain sight, basically, or in that locked room, which is kind of the nature of the locked room thing, but, like, the knife robot was never going to be a thing. That's not possible.
The impossible
and they nixed that pretty quickly. Exactly, yeah, and they nixed that pretty quickly, so I think maybe that's it. Like, we're never pointed to a specific suspect to, like, get us on a different path here, and that could be maybe why it's not holding up as well. I also had a note about the Lazarus door. I think that was kind of interesting to hear about as a concept, but it's also, like, kind of a silly setup, because it makes it very obvious that somehow someone's going to push their way out of that tomb, whether it's Wicks or it's not Wicks. I think the point was to make it seem like, oh, maybe he faked his death, which is not what happened.
Well, I had a pretty obvious, well, I don't know. For me, it was a pretty obvious, like, tell for Wicks isn't dead, which is, again, Catholic school coming up clutch, helping me guess the end of this movie. When they were like, he died on Good Friday. wonder what's going to happen on Easter Sunday. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you know Christianity, it's like Easter Sunday is Jesus' resurrection. You can see
Yeah.
that they're maybe going for something here. And it turns out
No,
that's a character
absolutely.
choice, kind of, that like Martha is trying to like invoke that very thing.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing of it too. I'm also wondering, what do you guys think about like the ultimate reveal? Not just about who killed Wix, but just the reveal of like all of the events that have led up to this, starting with his grandfather like swallowing the diamond, killing himself, basically, and then like that's where the diamond is, and that being like the whole thing that really set all this into motion. Do you think it's a little too convoluted? Because I think there is an argument that it is. I just think that Johnson happens to handle it really well in this case. Like,
take it or leave it. I didn't really care.
I think it works mostly well. I think it ties into the themes of like greed also really, really well. It then makes sense for the whole motivation of everything. But I think there's an argument that could be made that maybe there's too many moving parts here too.
Yeah, thematically, I think it holds up, and like it is. There's not like plot holes there, but I kind of had a question to that effect, which is, does this movie kind of cheat with its momentum? I think you could definitely make an argument that like it kind of just
What do you
has,
mean?
well, like it'll just have a lot of things happen at a pace where like you almost can't predict the mystery, not because it's too twisty or he's like pulling the rug out too much. It's just moving too fast where like you're getting information faster than you can fully process it. The point that where I started feeling that was when you see the reveal that Dr. Nat is murdered. Like I think there's a shot before that where like somebody rings his doorbell and then he goes to the door. We like see him going down the hall, and then we go to something else with I think Judd and Blanc probably. So it's like, oh, here's a little thread, and then like a few minutes later you've kind of forgotten about it because there's just too much else that's going on.
I mean, maybe during that sequence.
That was just where I noticed it. I think it can happen a bit more too. Like, and I think he does it in the other Knives Out movies where 2/3 of the way through each of those movies, there's a second murder that we found out.
Right.
Like, wasn't the one being investigated, but it's like, oh crap, a second body just turned up. So
But
now
there's
it's like,
another
oh,
murder, yeah.
well, who did this one? Is it the same person? I guess, maybe, but who knows? Maybe there's a different murderer out here. I like that on a first watch experience because I don't want to be able to guess the ending. And it's nice to be a little bit at sea and just like, wow. And I also just have trust in Rian Johnson now because he's done it well. I also consider myself really bad at audience calculation and bad at predicting things. So I'm a good audience member for it in that sense. I think people who are really prone to predicting and are good at it, these movies may not always trick them the way that they trick me.
Yeah, but no, I don't think there's too much. Like, I was able to follow pretty much all of it as it went through. Like, I didn't think there was ever like too much information. Maybe during that sequence where like I got a little confused during the sequence where Judd runs into the woods and then it seems like he stabs Wix. It took me a second to realize that like he didn't actually stab anybody and that it was Nat who did it, and that I guess he must have been dreaming that part. So that was a little bit of a weird conveying of information. But other than that, I never felt like he was just piling information on just for the sake of confusing us enough so that we didn't think about what was happening. I think that would be like maybe a weaker way of like distracting us from, so we didn't think too hard about the mystery. Like I never felt that way necessarily. Like I felt like the momentum was genuine for the most part.
Jelani, how do you feel about the momentum?
No, I think he cheated. I think there was a lot happening on the back half. It was just like, oh, this happened. Oh, no, now we're over here. And, oh, I forgot. I agree with Evan. Like, I had forgotten that somebody even went to visit Nat because we went, something else was happening at the time. And, yeah.
I'm less mad at it because I want him to be smarter than me. I think if you do it too much, which I don't know that he does, but you could make an argument, it's almost like the guy who thinks he won the argument because he just said too many incorrect things that you're like, okay, I can't, like, I forgot half of them because you just said 10 incorrect things. Does that sound like somebody? Yeah, I think so. But, like...
What is truth? We don't know.
I don't bring that up for the cheap political jab. But I bring it up because
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the same thing. Like, you can do that as a writer. Just be like, boom, 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 boom. Hey, here's like 5 more things. Did you guess it? Oh, you didn't guess it. I did a good job. Ooh, gotcha.
Yeah. It's like everyone's talking like they're in The Departed. Like every line that Alec Baldwin delivers.
Yeah. What do you smoke? You don't smoke, dude. What do you want to those fucking
Exactly
fitness
what I'm thinking
freaks?
of.
Go fuck yourself. Writing mysteries are hard, so like I don't try to criticize anyone who can pull it off well. That is a big weakness I consider of mine as a writer, is audience calculation. I think Rian Johnson, it's probably his biggest strength, which is why he's so impressive to me. Can he keep pulling this off? Well, I guess we'll see.
I don't think there's an active 4th movie in development, but he's definitely going to make one. He's good at this. I think that there's definitely room to like add more. I mean, obviously Agatha Christie wrote like 75 mystery novels. There's definitely more mysteries that he could do, like more settings he could try, more kinds of characters, more themes. I gotta admit also, I didn't necessarily remember the entirety of the mystery. Like, I actually, as I was watching it, I'm like, wait, who did kill Wix? And then I kind of remembered Martha, and then I'm like, okay, but like, what was the entire, like, because like I said, there's a lot of moving parts here. So like, I actually had forgotten about the swallowing the diamond, which is crazy because like that's such a huge part of it. Like, that's his whole motivation for, like, why he wants to go into the tomb. I realized most of what I was remembering was all the thematic stuff, all the discussions about Christianity between Judd and everybody else, like, especially between him and Blanc, like, all of that stuff is what I remembered, so I think that was the strength of this. And maybe that's why, like, Knives Out 1, I think, handled the mystery element of it better, because I remember the twists of that mystery really, really, really well, even though it's, like, a 7-year-old movie now.
I think Knives Out is also a lot more I think it's fair to say that Rian Johnson was maybe not as concerned with making a great mystery for this one. He was absolutely very concerned with that for the first movie. My experience was the same as yours too, with like the themes were like, I forgot second time around too. I was like, wait, does the mystery even work? Because I haven't thought about it in the 2 months since I first saw this movie.
Upon rewatch, I think it does for the most part. I think there's like, actually, I think there's 2 things that I didn't line up with. Like, for example, what happened to the second Devil's Head? Because I know it disappears from the window now, but I don't remember where it wound up.
I don't either.
That's like a missing piece too. Like, who took it if it wasn't there? Because they established that there being 2 is important, but where is it?
Yeah, I don't remember if they answer that. They might not answer it.
Yeah, Joe Mornostrolani, or...
Nope.
Okay. I'm sorry
Yeah.
you didn't like this as much, but I'm glad you brought some, like, critiques to this, because I think there is stuff to critique here, despite how much this works for me.
I mean, listen, the themes work, and I think that's the important thing. I think it's okay if this is not necessarily the best mystery, even though this is the one where Blanc is the best detective.
Yes, I will agree with that, especially because that's what my topic's all about.
So yeah, let's move on to Evan's topic. Evan, go ahead.
So my topic that I've hinted at a few times already is the character web as a metaphor for Christianity. Fair warning, this might get a bit political, but I think anyone who's been a fan of us will not be too shocked at anything that I say here. The Knives Out series has made a habit of creating like archetypal characters for our present day. I think it's one of its greatest strengths. This one felt like it was treating the characters a bit more as like a nationwide metaphor. I'm going to go through my reading of all the characters and then throw it to you guys. To my reading, all of the characters represent different aspects or types of people in American Christianity. So Wix is the toxic figurehead who's spouting hatred and running a grift. Martha is a devout believer who tips beyond being devout into being sanctimonious and is focused mostly on discipline and punishing sinners. Like, that's how she lives out her faith, is through punishment. We talked about it before. Vera, I can't really put my finger on because her situation feels very unique. I'd like to hear somebody else's reading that points to like, what does she represent? I can't really tell.
I feel like they could have connected her character to like how the religion, I guess, looks at people who have children out of wedlock. Like, I feel like that could have been an in.
I think you could have, but she's not the person to do that with, because she's just like the one who gets, like, nobody thinks that she had a child out of wedlock.
Right.
Well, I think it's
So
more the whole patriarchy thing. Like, she is saddled with the responsibility of the decisions that these men made. It basically takes her life away from her. Like, she had to give up everything, and she said it's to be loyal to her dad. Ultimately, her dad's drinking buddy, who her dad just, like, covered for, and he didn't take responsibility for it. He made his daughter do it, because I think he saw that, like, as her place in his life. Like, that was her job to do, and that's... I think that's kind of where they're going with that.
yeah, I think she's definitely
And
presented as a victim of the church.
no, she
and
absolutely
Wicks.
is. Yeah, yeah, and her father. Like, they
That
all
too.
use her in the most unfair way possible. Her whole life is gone as a result of this. And I mean, we've also established Sai is the worst, and she has to raise this terrible devil child because of responsibility that never should have been put on her.
Yeah, I like your patriarchy reading there. I don't think it like makes her character quite as strong of a real world parallel as a lot of the others, but it's better than anything
Yeah.
I can come up with. I think there's some textual stuff in there to support that. I think it's just not built out super strongly by Ryan Johnson here.
Well, her character is not built out as well. Like, we don't have a reason
Yeah.
for her to stay, and that's the thing either. Honestly, she could have just moved them away years ago. And I think the reason she didn't was just, like, there was this pressure by her father to stay there and be a part of this community.
Yeah. What's tough for me reading her is that it's not a thing that I have heard happens a lot. Maybe it is. Like, maybe there are a lot of illegitimate children of preachers of one kind or another, and I just have been less exposed to that in my own experience. But
Oh, yeah. Maybe not this specific scenario, but similar
yeah.
things in concept where people put their own responsibilities on other people they see as beneath them, even though they're not. Like, it's
Yeah.
just that kind of thing does happen. She points it out, like, it's a boys club thing. Her dad's motivation was to protect his drinking buddy as opposed to, what it should have been, which is what is best for my family, my daughter.
Yeah.
And what is best for this kid, too. Like, it was all about protecting Wicks, who is the figurehead.
And I think it's one of the most, like, subtle points of commentary in the movie when that reveal happens. Like, the fact that Wicks doesn't deny it and how dismissive he is. He's like, yeah, some loose woman of no importance. Like, so dismissive of
Dude.
this, like, we don't know much about her aside from what we're told, but, like, just, like, that's how he's going to talk about this random black woman that we're not going to see, that, who knows how they met. And also that...
It says a lot about how he sees the world.
Yeah.
And how fucked up he is as a person. Like,
and that he's totally willing to just put this on Vera and is like, yeah, fuck you. I did that to you.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's a larger metaphor there too, where, like, again, they put all their responsibility on everybody else.
Yeah. I think you guys have shed some good light on, like, how she can fit into the theme a little better. But if other people have readings, like, she's the one I'm not the strongest on, so I'd like to hear other people's readings. Dr. Nat is probably second to last place, I guess, for fitting in with a real world parallel. At the very least, like, I think if we want to expand it out to, like, a national level, he's just, like, somebody who is in pain and seeking solace in religion. Like, that is being leveraged to do the will of a Wicks figure. I don't think he's the strongest metaphor, but that's the best reading I can take of him.
Well, I think it's also, like, very similar with, like, the patriarchy themes with Nat also, because they talk a lot about it, like, he has a lot of anger towards women, his wife specifically, who we only really see, like, as, like, he was really devoted to her and he loved her, and then she left and took his kids away and everything, and, like, I mean, there are hints as to why. It's possibly because he was a heavy drinker before this, and maybe he wasn't the best role model to have her kids around. We only see the perspective of he's sad that she's gone, but I think the reason that he throws himself into Wicks and the church is, like, he's looking for a sense of purpose again, and he's found this very, like, patriarchal system that makes him feel important, and Wicks is validating him to a certain extent and, like, using him to, like, I think just to have influence over somebody. Like, I don't think he's getting anything, like, it's not, like, the same as with, like, Simone, where he's manipulating her to get money. He can have power over this one person, and he can use his own anger and, like, this cycle of hate to get somebody to just follow him for the sake of it.
Yeah, I feel like we needed a stronger motivation for, like, why is Nat so devoted? Like, obviously he's depressed and divorced. But he was there before his divorce. Like, he's shown in the church prior to his divorce. So
with his wife.
What is it?
With his wife.
Right, yeah.
With his wife, yeah.
So,
we never see his kids, by the way. We hear about them. We never see his kids.
Oh, yeah, maybe not. I'm
Which
not
is
remembering.
Interesting. I didn't even realize. I just realized that we never see his kids at all.
I don't feel like we were given a strong motivation for him to devote himself to Wix in that way. Like, we can tell that he's in kind of this destructive cycle, but I don't feel like we got a why. And same with Vera too. You could have kind of come up with a reason, I think, for Nat.
But I think some of it is like, you know, we talked about like some people in an ensemble kind of get the short end of the stick. They're not necessarily explored as much. I think some of it could even be like length. Like, this is a long movie. This is 2.5 hours. Like, it's a decent length of movie. But I think like to have these missing scenes where we're kind of seeing how Wix interacts with each of them, it would kill the pacing a little bit. And I think that's probably why they're like, we're just going to hint at like the themes and like why these archetypes would be drawn to him, as opposed to giving reasons why this character specifically is going to follow him. You know?
I think that's too important to cut, though. Like,
I agree.
If you're going to go through... Because we get a little bit of backstory for each of them, and I think with, like, basically everyone else, again, except probably Vera, but even a little bit with her, there's a pretty clear reason with each of them, like, why are they here? What is their attachment to Wix? And... I don't think we get that with him. Samson, I think, is just well-meaning people who are tricked into serving the agenda of a figurehead. We're shown that he's, like, a nice person, but he gets played and is just kind of taking orders from Martha. But I think, again, there's a real-world parallel to that. Simone, I wish kind of had a bit more to do in the plot, but her real-world parallel, I think, is very strong. She's, like, people who are exploited for money by prosperity gospel, like... This didn't happen in the churches I went to, but I've heard many stories of, like, preachers, like, just extorting so much money out of their congregations, saying, like, send in $1,000 to us and your cancer will be healed. Like, that's a...
Is that straightforward?
I don't think it's... They couch it a lot more cleverly than that. And
yeah, it's not exact as, like, direct as this, but yeah.
And, yeah, they don't quite... go through the whole song and dance of it in this movie. It doesn't seem like it's quite as much of a one-to-one, but we see that Simone is giving a lot of money, and she says something like...
You promised to heal me.
Yeah, but she also has a line about, like, doctors, like, taking advantage of her faith to heal her, which is exactly what's happening here.
Which is I caught that too, super ironic given the fact that like that's exactly what Wix is doing. It's just in the medical industry, like that does happen too in some cases with like experimental procedures with like there's only a chance, right? Yeah. But in this case it's very much like he knows exactly what he's doing. Like he's deliberately tricking her, whereas that it's like the medical science just wasn't there to figure it out with her.
Yeah.
But Wix is like deliberately manipulating her.
I don't think we spend a ton of time, like, seeing exactly how deep he has his claws in there, which might be necessary if this were, like, a bigger commentary on this, but I guess I've learned enough about the existence of that in the real world that I was able to pretty instantly lock into it. If not for that, the story itself doesn't do enough work to sell you on that, but like I think because it's pointing to this real world thing, I'm personally okay with it. He's using shorthand pretty strongly though. Going through the other ones, Psy, pretty obvious here. Politicians using religion to boost their platform. You see that everywhere. Lee, I could be wrong with this reading. I saw him as like a Christian filmmaker or musician. And then second time around, I was thinking he might also be kind of like a Ben Shapiro type, where he's a failed artist who then attaches himself to like a religious or right-wing pundit that's spouting all of these toxic talking points, where like his creativity... I think they indicate in the movie that like he used to be really good and now has like fallen off because he like is trying to just sell Wix's ideology, and his fan base is shrinking. I don't know a ton of like real world one-to-one people that it's happened with, but I know there's like actors who kind of can only get work for like Christian movies who used to be like big names, or either they only choose to or they just kind of have fallen off in some way. And like Rob Schneider apparently only works for the Daily Wire now.
Yeah.
Because he's just kind of been enough of a dick and not a good enough actor to stay in the mainstream.
They established pretty early that he was a successful author. They don't really say like what his books were about necessarily, like the themes. I think it was like old sci-fi books, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like old sci-fi type books, like old sci-fi, like almost like serial type books, right? And they were really good, and then they fell off. And what he did was he started to kind of blame everybody else for why his career was faltering. And what he does now is like he's now attached himself to Wix as a means of like he's writing a book about this big figurehead who had a lot of influence as a means of reviving his career. But his whole thing is like the whole world's out to get him. He literally builds a moat around his house as a result, which I thought was super funny. He's like, it's mostly symbolic, but yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. I wanted to see his house more, to be honest with you, just for that, just because I wanted to look at the moat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they established, like he's literally just like attaching himself to Wix as a means to an end, not realizing that Wix is also manipulating his own like fears about the world. They also hint that he has some very conservative worldviews also, and that's possibly why his books fell off, was that the world is changing and nobody was okay with some of the messed up shit he might have been saying in his books, right? So they don't say that explicitly, but I think it is hinted at, just in some of his language and the way he addresses people. And it's actually funny, one thing I noticed this time, he gets really mad at Psy, because Psy is actually doing a very similar thing. He's just using a different platform to push conservative worldviews and using Wix to do so. He's using like YouTube and the internet and stuff like that. But Lee gets mad at the influence that Psy is having over Wix. But that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's just maybe being a little less successful at it. Yeah. Obviously now we know why. Like Psy is Wix's son. Mm-hmm. So
I think Lee does seem to be the most eager to please Wix, though. Aside from maybe Martha, but like he seems more desperate at the very least. Like he's kind of more of a bootlicker than the rest of them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then to round it out, Father Judd. So I had a conversation right after seeing this movie. I saw it with most of my family, and we talked about it at dinner. For context, my family, we were all raised Catholic. My mom is still a Catholic school religion teacher, so we had a lot of like thoughts, and I don't remember most of the conversation, but one thing that stuck with me is this phrase that my dad used, which is the silent majority. He kind of thought Judd represents like what he was calling the silent majority of Christians. That term has like history as being used for like talking about a voter base, which is not really how I think my dad meant it. I think it's just kind of a useful turn of phrase that came to mind.
Oh yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think Reagan used it, or I don't know, one of those like 60s, 70s presidents used it a lot. But I think who he meant, being my dad, when he used that phrase, is like people who are genuine in their faith, but they're forced to get caught up in all of these culture wars that the figureheads are like bring into the conversation. Mm-hmm. And it just made me think about like the kind of Christians that I feel like I interacted with the most. Like there are some people that I think fall into like, I've definitely met a few Marthas who are just kind of miserable and just there to discipline people. Yeah. Not nuns, for the record. I haven't met any nuns. I know there's that stereotype about them, but like being super disciplinarians. But I've encountered those, like I can name at least two people that are definitely Marthas. Obviously I won't name them.
Name them.
I don't even remember one of their names. But
say it.
Nope. But I know a lot more Father Judds, not necessarily priests, but also several priests who are just like humble people who are well-meaning and like genuinely want to live out the Gospels and like Christian teachings in their daily lives. I don't know if that's, like, when we say the term silent majority here, I don't know if I want to call that a numerical majority, just because I don't have the stats to back that up. I like to think that there are a lot of people like that, and I think it's quite frustrating that in both, like, fictional media made by Christians and, like, news media, those kinds of people are never the ones being featured. And I think they are exactly what most Christians do and should aspire to be, even as someone who's
Father
not...
Judds you're talking about.
Yeah, the Father Judds. I think it's obviously possible, like, amid trying to live that out, to, like, get caught up and become a Samson, kind of, and, like, be well-meaning and maybe, like, flawed and susceptible to being manipulated by a Wix figure. I found it just so cathartic and refreshing, and I think my whole family did too, to see that kind of person represented. When we talk about, like, media representation, like, we usually talk about, like, marginalized groups who haven't been shown in either a positive or almost any light, that have been kind of, like, erased. And I don't think that's true of Christians, but I do think that they have been misrepresented in a lot of ways. Not necessarily shown negatively, but shown in this very narrow way. I'm mostly talking about Christian movies, and I have a lot of shade I could throw at them that I won't hear, but, like, I'm probably going to make a whole video about this movie, breaking this down. I haven't fully crystallized my thoughts, but just to close it out before I throw it to you guys, like, Father Judd is so cathartic to see, because I think that's what being a Christian is about to me. Like, I feel like that is what I was taught throughout my time there. I have issues personally with the church, but, like, I still believe that there are many, many good people who follow religions, regardless of how I feel about what is being preached. I think if you follow, like, the teachings of Christ as they are laid out, Father Judd is that guy. Like, he is somebody who is genuinely following. And it's just so rare to see, like, when we talk about Christians, particularly in America, I don't think the Father Judds are who are coming to mind. And that's really sad to me. Did you guys have... I have a lot more notes to go into, but I'll throw it to you guys.
I was just going to say, Evan, it feels like Evan really understands this movie. It's like he grew up Catholic and, you know, like he went to school for studying movies or something.
It felt like a gift. Like, I think I've said this on other episodes, but, like, a genre that I really like is movies about religion that are not religious movies. And this might be the best one of them. Silence is also really good.
Silence is very good. Science is really long, I feel like, but
and really sad. So
I want us to do.
I don't quite. Prince of Egypt
is that religious?
I would say
it's
good.
Different.
It's good. It's not quite in that same category because it's not fictional.
It's not breaking down religion. Is the thing. Like, I think what you're looking at is movies that are breaking down religion to an extent, or at least examining it as a concept. I do not think Prince of Egypt does that necessarily.
Yeah. It's still good.
It's an adaptation of a story from a religious book.
Yes.
Is the thing. So there's only so much of that it's going to do. There's talking about, like, the nature of faith, just like all of those stories kind of do to an extent, but it's not breaking down the system that it's a part of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd agree with you. I actually think you had a lot of really good thoughts on this, and this is something... I know we don't do a lot of TV shows or miniseries. I want us to do Midnight Mass, because I think that we'd have a really good discussion on that as a result of this. Like, both of us grew up Catholic, so I think we have our own perspectives on it.
I've been told to watch that by many
It does something
people.
very similar, and actually, if you like what they did with Martha here, there is a character that is a lot like Martha, but not redeemable, if that makes sense. Like, Martha...
Jesus.
You understand and is redeemed at the end to an extent, like, or not even redeemed, just like you understand her as a person. This other character is just a bad person in Midnight Mass, and they break that down very, very well, and they have 7 episodes to really go through all of the effects that religion has on different kinds of people, especially in a small community like this one. So I think that's something that we should put on the docket at some point.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about it. There may not be like one-to-one parallels with everybody, but I think that everyone's personality is affected by a figurehead like Monsignor Wicks differently. But in their own way, they're all subject to what I think of as like blind performative faith versus authentic faith. Judd is an example of authentic faith where he's actually trying to carry out these teachings and understand people, help guide people, not force any beliefs on them, but help them come to a place of peace on their own and figure out what they need. Everyone else is kind of just part of the church for their own motivations or to be a part of something, and it makes them more able to be manipulated by a figure like Monsignor Wicks. I also don't believe that like people like this are the majority. I think maybe they're the loudest, and that's why they get much more attention in the media. In my own experience, like, yeah, a lot of the people that I grew up with that are very religious, they are a lot more like Father Judd. They're a lot more like, they believe to have a sense of community and to be a part of something, but they also do want everyone to just like be happy in their own way. I think the narrative does get pushed in some of these organized religions though, of like, well, it's our way or the highway. You know, it's not everywhere all the time, but it's a very big thing that like I was kind of back and forth between growing up. Not in my own, like, I always thought of it more like Father Judd does, but I felt that narrative being pushed to me of, well, this is the way you're supposed to do it, even though it really should be different for every person, and like what works for you, how much you want to be involved, how you treat people should always be with this sense of grace, whereas like a lot of people they do turn into someone like Martha, where it's all about punishing sinners and an us versus them mentality. I agree with you that I don't think that is the majority. I think those are the people that are getting the most influence because they're the most in your face.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's important, though, that this movie shows them all with a sense of empathy. Like, I find people who take Martha's approach very frustrating, but I also remember, like, as a 14-year-old, because that was, like, the age that I kind of tried to go a little bit harder into Catholicism, I recognize some of, like, her tendencies in myself at that age. And even beyond that, it wasn't just isolated to that time. Like, when you're in those kinds of spaces, there is this very, like, punitive and, like, strict mentality. This is mostly in Catholic spaces. I hear that other denominations are not so much like this.
Yeah.
Her whole piety and, like, sanctimoniousness, she seems to really relish tearing down Eve. And, like, when she whispers in her ear, like, you can tell that she's enjoying it. And, like, oh, you lost. Like, and I think that's, like, a tendency that I know I've, like, felt in myself in those times when I've been more in religious spaces. And I think it's not even limited to that. Like, I think schadenfreude is the term where it's like, oh, somebody else is suffering and I like that. I think that is not an exclusively religious feeling, but it often is there in those places. I'm sorry if I'm overriding you, but there's just another moment I wanted to talk about with that
Go ahead.
that has really stuck with me. It confused me at first, but there's that part in the beginning of the movie when Judd is talking about Wicks's, like, homilies and how he's always trying to get someone to walk out. That is not a thing that I have ever, like, been in a church and experienced. But I've thought a lot about what is keeping everyone in their seat during that time, because he kind of focuses on, like, the people who stay, and, like, this is the group, our suspects are, like, the group that has stayed. I think that's just, like, such a resonant image for me that I'd never quite seen articulated, where, like, if you are raised in this ideology where following and obedience is good, like, that is how you be a good person, then there is this kind of gross satisfaction in whatever, like, form it may take, keeping your seat when someone else walks out. It's like, oh, I'm stronger than them. I am more obedient. I am better than them. And that's an intoxicating feeling that I feel like I've never seen reflected that strongly. There's so much imagery like that in this movie that feels like it was tailor-made to like resonate with my own experience. And I don't think I'm the only one who resonates with it, but like I don't think I've felt my personal life experience reflected in a movie this much outside of probably Inside Out 1. It's such a cathartic feeling. If you had more with that, please share.
Definitely.
But...
No, I understand what you're saying. I've never experienced a person in power like Wix personally, like who would take that approach to it. Judd breaks it down in their later confession scene, the one where he gets punched, where he's like, you're creating this environment of fear, trying to keep them afraid. And again, it's all about a sense of control for him. I think to go back to Martha, to kind of break down how I feel about this, I don't remember if they explain like that Martha was like an orphan or something and she was basically raised by the church, but you kind of get the sense that Wix's grandfather was a fatherly figure to her. And I think there is, when you're a kid especially, and maybe if you don't have another parental figure around, there is a comfort to the structure that is created, especially in such a strict environment like that. You can sort of become very zealous and very like devoted to that one sense of, like, it creates a sense of self for you. That catharsis and satisfaction comes from a certainty about not only that you are right and that what you're following is right, but that other people are wrong. And that doesn't need to be a true thing, because it's obviously not true here, but in her mind, that is the environment she grew up in, and so the satisfaction comes from the feeling that she is correct, and she is the one that's going to be, you know, in her mind, saved and sent to heaven. And for that to work, in her mind, everybody else has to be wrong. You know, so there is that satisfaction from punishing the people that she sees as sinners, whether she's actually examined how she as a person feels about them or not. And I think that when it comes down to the way that Wix approaches things, I don't get the sense that his grandfather was like exactly the same, which I think says a lot about who Wix is as his own person, where all of this anger and self-loathing has come forward when he's in this position of power. His method of getting somebody to walk out, these other people, the people that stay, the constituents, it cements to them that they are right, just like it did with Martha.
I think Judd uses the word calcifies,
cements,
which is, I think, a great image
calcifies.
for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like locking it in stone. Like, the longer that they stay, the more sure that they are that they're right, and therefore, the more control that Monsignor Wix has over them. And that's really what he's going for, but he's doing it, he's sort of manipulating it in the same way that I think Martha was manipulated, whether intentionally or not. Like, she's got a very rigid idea of what's right and wrong because of the environment that she was raised in. And it can be very easy to fall into that. And that's something that Wix, I think, understands inherently and is deliberately manipulating. Wix has to know that to have the extent of control that he has, you know?
Yeah.
Jelani?
No, don't throw that. Y'all have had a back and I don't know what to say to any of this. I feel like y'all know more about this than I do. Also, I grew up non-denominational, and my mom just...
Did your family like go to church at all, or not really?
I was Christian. I grew up Christian, but non-denominational.
Okay.
We didn't have a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about like your religious background, if you had any at all, because there are some people that like they grow up agnostic or they grow up atheist. Like, I currently identify as like agnostic, but I grew up Catholic.
No, I think it's called deist now. Like, I just believe in a higher power, but I don't follow all of the church stuff. Y'all got this. I don't have anything to add to this. Y'all.
I'm sorry to shut you out from it. I think.
Yeah, we're obviously we're not trying to.
I didn't know how much this movie was going to resonate because we picked this before it came out. Like, I didn't know this was going to be like this cathartic of a movie for me, and that's why I'm glad you brought your topic as like something that was like, oh, I feel a little distanced from this, because I'm sure you're not the only one who does feel that way. Like, I wasn't even thinking about the mystery first time because I was so locked in with like, what is this saying thematically, because it felt so like resonant. And I know there's other movies, like we actually kind of had an off-air conversation after our Sinners episode where I kind of said the opposite, where I was like, I can tell there's stuff here, but it's not hitting for me. The reverse is true here, where it's like, oh, I'm seeing like everything here, or at least it feels that way. And I think that's why I'm going to continue rewatching this. Whether this is the best Knives Out movie or not, I don't really care, because it's just like hitting on such a different level for me.
Oh yeah, I agree. I have more desire to rewatch this one than I did the other ones. I think specifically because I understand so many of these themes and can like look at my own upbringing and like understand kind of like what I was feeling and thinking back then,
Yeah.
to a like better than I would have, like I'm almost 30. Like I now understand myself better as a 10-year-old than I used to.
I kind of wonder what I would have thought watching this when I was sort of like transitioning out of Catholicism, because there's sort of this idea that even sometimes I am susceptible to, that like I am anti like everything in the church, which isn't true. Like there's a lot of my Catholic upbringing that I've had to unlearn, but there's also a lot of like positive things that I think have stuck around. And I'm planning to talk about that in the video I'm going to eventually make, but I don't have it all fully articulated. This I think is so well balanced here, where it is actually showing a lot of the positives that being religious can bring, to in a way that like I think it's actually a better, like if you want to talk like a story about Christianity that will actually bring people to the church, to me this does a better job than any Christian created movie that I've ever seen.
I like the scene where he's talking to old girl on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I had notes about that scene too. It's so good. It cements like why he does this, like the fact that as soon as he knows she needs help, he stops, and that's the only thing that matters at that moment, and like that's why he does what he does, why he became a priest, you know.
I like that pacing wise, it like slams to a halt there too, because we're like right in the thick of the mystery. Like you as the audience aren't thinking about themes. You're like, okay, we're about to go get this thing, and now it's like, oh, he's about it. Like, and that like solidifies. This is the theme of this. This is what it's about.
It's so well done too, just on its own, because we've seen that scene a million times before, where there's someone kind of annoying on the phone, somebody who's talking a lot and like not really getting to the point. And you're frustrated because you, as the viewer, you want to get to the bottom of the mystery. You need the information that they have, that they could give you in just like 2 seconds, but they haven't so far. The real reason that he stops and helps her is because this is what he wanted to do in the first place. And he realizes now he's getting caught up in Blanc's mystery and Blanc's game, and he's making it all about him and him needing to solve this. And when he realizes she needs help and he stops, he feels like a priest again, because this is what he was supposed to do. That's why he tells Blanc after that scene, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't care. This is not why I'm here. Talking to this woman for 2 hours on the phone, helping her, that's why I'm here. So it just adds to his character and to the themes and to like what a priest is supposed to be.
Yeah, you know? And even like the other scene that kind of, I don't know if it mirrors it, but the other scene where he says like, I just felt like a priest again, is Blanc's introduction. And Blanc admits to him straight away. He's like, yeah, I don't buy into all of this. And Judd is not resistant to that at all. He's like, you don't have to. And I love that there is no conversion story here. At the end of the movie, Blanc walks out the door, and I love what he said. I don't know the exact line, but he's like, there's nothing I would rather not do. But there's still like
not do.
Yeah, but they're still like smiling at each other. Like you can tell it's like we see the good in each other. Like it's fine. He's not judgmental towards Father Judd. He's not like, oh, you're blind or like stupid for believing in this. And Judd is never treating Blanc as if like he's resistant to some of like how Blanc's moving in this situation, but he's never trying to convert him. He's never like, you don't get X, Y, and Z about Jesus or whatever. Like, he's not pulling a conversion game on.
I think judgment is a big part of it, too. Big part of just the religion aspect in general. It's just, there's a lot of that going between people in the real world, people who aren't religious, as opposed to people who are. The religious people are judging the non-religious, even though, like, they're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, it's literally the opposite of what a lot of these places teach you, is like not to judge your neighbor.
Well, and I think there's also like a good counterbalance there that's shown in this movie, not very explicitly, but kind of what you're saying, Jelani, about like it's not supposed to be judgmental. I think there are some people in religious spaces who I've come across this in real life. They are not like specifically judgmental towards people who are not in their faith, but their goal is to convert them. And they may do that in what to them feels like a loving way, but personally I think like that kind of conversion is sort of insidious and not really what somebody's goal should be, which is why I love that it's never in Father Judd's mind in this movie. Like, to him, ministering to people is not about bringing them onto your team. Like, there's a very team sports mentality. You're saying it with
it's a very factionalist mentality. Like, if you're not with us, you're against us type thing. What? And that's what the church is initially telling him in that first scene.
Yeah, the wolves and the sheep thing is exactly that.
Yeah.
You know what, strangely enough, touches on this too? The boys.
Yeah. I think it very much
especially in season 1, that Believe Expo or something they did, and Huey gets baptized by Homelander and all this stuff, but they had that circle where the kids were talking, and one of them was saying, like, their friend is, like, Muslim, how do I go about converting them or something like that? And Starlight wants to, I think she wants to, like, discourage that or something, but the dude, like, somebody else there who's with her is like shaking his head like, no, like I think you should go about like saving your friend or whatever.
Yeah. And I've been in rooms in real life, like there is, I'll share this anecdote. I don't think it will like put anyone on blast, but there was a thing that my family did a few years ago where we went to a sanctuary city where a lot of like immigrant families go to, and I don't really remember how we got signed up for it, and I was like out of the church at this point, but it was like a summer camp thing, and a lot of the kids there were being raised Muslim, I'm pretty sure. The other group we were doing it with, volunteering with, was this youth group of high schoolers that were all Baptist, and we, like, none of us were native to this city, we were all coming from very far away, but that youth group, like both the kids and the adults there, were very explicitly coming in with this agenda of, when do we get to talk to these kids about Jesus? And all the volunteers who like worked at the camp full time were like, that's not what we do here, really. Like we're just kind of here to, you know, give them a fun week at camp. But this group had like a quota that they were meant to hit by the time, like they had a week to like turn some number of kids, I don't know what the number was, but like their like leader guy had a quota of, we need to convert this many kids by the end of the week.
It's like sending out missionaries, right?
It's very explicitly sending out missionaries, and like that's kind of the what I was talking about with like the evangelizing. Like I don't think those kids were being judgmental. The adults probably weren't either. I think they were doing what they thought was right. To me, that's very misguided. It's a team sport. Like you're playing blob tag, trying to like get more people to glom onto your group. Like to them, that is ministering, and I love that Father Judd is not taking that angle. His ministry is just helping whatever way that he can. He could care less about whether somebody is converted.
I think what helps is his background and his motivation. Like he's doing it, like he joined as a means of redemption for himself because of all the guilt that he felt about killing that man in the ring and all of the things he did after that too, with these cycles of violence and addiction afterwards. Like he saw this as like him saving himself. He's trying to give other people the same chance that he had. That's the mentality that he's looking at it as. He's not been pulled into religion just for the sense of like recruiting more people into religion. It is because he found his way there on his own, and this is what he found has brought him the most peace, and he just wants to give that to other people. It's a very like motivation specifically to him, and in a strange way, it makes it a lot more altruistic.
It absolutely makes it more altruistic. Again, I don't know if it's the majority of people. I think there's a lot more Father Judds out there than we seem to think, because their form of ministry is just doing good. It's not about getting you to like and subscribe to their church. Like, it's not about the numbers game. 'Cause, I mean, I'm saying that as kind of a joke, but like that's
I know what you mean.
churches are about. They don't really care
That's
about
kind of how it feels
charity.
sometimes, yeah.
They're about how do we increase our congregation, get the numbers up.
There was somebody, I think it was on TikTok, who went around like calling, it might have been by state, calling churches asking for like formula for a baby. A lot of churches were telling her no, but a few like asked for information and stuff like that. You mentioning like it being about charity and not like increasing congregation numbers reminded me of that. I don't know why I mentioned that.
No, I think it's relevant. I haven't seen what you're talking about, but I think it's probably there to kind of point out, maybe not the hypocrisy, but what is their agenda. And some places, I think, legitimately are devoted to charity. Like, they are not, like, just running a grift, but a lot are. And I have so many more notes I could go into, but we've been going long enough. I do want to, like, just point to one other thing that this movie does in that regard to, like, the grifter characters. Sai and Lee are still running their grift at the end of the movie, which I think is... I was kind of glad to see that. Not because you want the Sais and the Lees of the world to do their thing, but it felt like a much more balanced ending. Like, I was so grateful that we got the 1 year later thing and didn't end, like, give it the ambiguous ending like the first movie has. That works well the first one. But here, I was like, I kind of need to see what Father Judd turns this church into. And it's nice that we get, like, Vera gets her fresh start. Simone, like, kind of gets her, like, miracle is how they say it. Like, she doesn't get healed, but she, like, returns to her passion of being a cellist. Father Judd is hopefully able to minister the way that he has always wanted to. And it doesn't stop the grifters from doing their thing. But maybe, like, it gives me a lot of hope for what the Father Judds of the world maybe can and are doing.
I think it would be a better ending if Blanc was converted, they stopped their grifting, and if Monsignorita and Samson
they come back from the dead.
They come back from the dead and celebrate with the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. And Donkey and Puss in Boots sing Livin' La Vida Loca and everyone claps. Freeze frame.
And then Simon Cowell is in the DVD version.
Yes.
And
as himself.
With Our Lady of Perpetual Fortitude idol.
Yes. Oh my god.
I do going off that. I do like the name change. I like that he changed it to Perpetual Grace because it's not only.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Yeah. No. He changes the name of the church to Our Lady of Perpetual Grace, which I think is not only it's a good way of like actually like giving Wix's mother the recognition she deserved because she was also a wrong party.
The harlot.
She was also given a raw deal in a lot of ways too. Like it was. Not just that, but, like, it speaks to what he actually wants, to how Judd actually wants to run things, which is through grace rather than building a wall, which is what fortitude would reflect. Wix talks about it like building an army, and Judd talks about it like giving everybody the chance to come to redemption or peace on their own, which is the way it's supposed to work, the way that Judd does it. I like that what you said though about like how not everybody gets redeemed because like that's real life. Like not everybody is going to admit that they were wrong or even realize that they were wrong. Like Sai is never going to change as a person. I can definitely see that just from the end. Like he's going to continue to go after this thing that he wants.
Continue sounding like Anakin Skywalker.
Continue sounding like Anakin Skywalker. If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Wait, yeah, he does. Sorry, I forgot that he does compare himself. It's like Star Wars.
It's like Star Wars,
is it?
But he does it wrong. Yeah, right. I love that moment because he's like father and son. He's like Star Wars? Yeah, like the Rebels. And Judd's like, wait a second. But then he doesn't correct him because they need to finish the story. It could have been cringy, but it wasn't. It was just funny.
Rian Johnson's comedic timing is pretty strong across the board in all, he gets great physical performances out of people too with it. Like he just highlights them well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean Josh O'Connor, where he's like, "This is what's gonna happen." He's holding up the thing and he's like yelling at people.
That's it.
That's it.
I have 100 more
It's so
things I
good.
could say on my topic, but we've gone long enough.
Oh,
So,
for sure, yeah.
And I'm gonna make a video about it where I'll be more.
We're approaching
coherent.
hour 3, guys.
Yeah, which
of
it won't be.
recording.
Thank you for letting us go off a bit there, Jelani. I know that was.
Oh yeah,
We did not leave a
You
lot
might
for
want to
you
like
there.
zoom into your faces because I don't know if I was completely here. I was listening for sure, but I don't know if it's gonna look like I was.
You should have just argued with us and told us that we were wrong, just for the sake of yelling at us.
Yes, and
Yes and no. Well, I'll have plenty of questions for you on the next one. I am going to make you the main character of the next episode. Like
Yep.
I have so there's
Actually,
so much.
only your face is going to be on screen.
Um,
Just your face. It's just going to be mine and Evan's voices.
Yeah, because I am like so curious how the Hobbit movies are going to hit for you. So I'll bring us to the boilerplate. We have some exciting announcements for the channel. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to transition into this, but we have some sad news as well that we wanted to address. The Drexel student newspaper, The Triangle, is something that Jelani and I were both part of, and since the last episode, we learned that our friend Brandon from The Triangle passed away unexpectedly, far too young. So I just wanted to take a moment for him. I passed the news along to a number of other friends, and everyone that I talked to just remarked upon just how good of a guy he was to be around, and I would echo that too. So I don't know if anyone that we have as listeners has any connection anymore to The Triangle, but it's kind of part of where this podcast began. I felt like we should just take a moment to, remember one of our own.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Rest in
I'm
peace,
sorry,
Brandon.
guys. I had no idea.
Yeah, he was only 30.
I mean, I didn't tell you because you didn't know him, and there were a lot of other people who did, but
No, I get it. My condolences.
yeah, I hadn't seen him in years, but I don't have a bad thing to say about him. Rest in peace, Brandon. Yeah, you'll be missed. To transition from that, I'm sorry to bring that up, but timing, it's death is never convenient. We also have a lot of stuff that is coming down the pipeline for the channel, both of them. We have some upcoming episodes that we haven't fully solidified. We're thinking of doing Daredevil Born Again and The Long Walk as Angel and Jelani's next 2 picks. When this episode is put out, the next big video essay on the channel will not be out yet. But over the past couple of years, I have been working on a rewrite of The Hobbit, a 2-part movie adaptation of it, and it is finished. So that is already available to read. I have a link for that in the description of this episode, wherever you're listening to it.
Where'd you post that?
It's on a Google Drive.
Oh,
You're not allowed to read it yet for reasons that I'll fill the audience in on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else is
I
allowed
am,
to read
but
it. Yes.
I'm gonna wait until we finish all the movies.
Jelani is the one person in the world that is not allowed to read this script yet. So the script is available to read. I have made about a half-hour video explaining my process on it. But in tandem with that, our next episode is going to be The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. And the reason Jelani is not allowed to read my script is that he has not seen any Lord of the Rings movies. He has not read any of the books. He has not seen or read The Hobbit. So I wanted to be a bad friend.
I'm like a rare gem
Yes.
to Evan right now. I am one of the most valuable people to him right now.
I don't remember exactly when I found out that about you. I think it was like within probably the first year of us doing the show together. But as soon as I learned that, I was like, oh, I know what I have to do now. I have to be a bad friend, but a really good co-host. And I have to make you watch the Hobbit movies first, having seen nothing else, because we need to do this experiment. I need to prepare a lot of questions. That will be the next episode. And then on Patreon, we are going to do a combined episode on Desolation of Smaug and Battle of Five Armies.
Because it's not going to be a positive episode, apparently.
It well, I mean, I mean, you might surprise us, but
Dude, if you love it, then tell us, please, because that would be so interesting to hear.
that's what I'm most excited to find out is like, because I mean, I'll talk about it when we get there. I loved those movies at the time. I was a much less mature person.
Oh yeah, but wait, that
So
first
if I
one,
do
you
love it,
would've
I'm immature.
been-
No, because you're not, for a few reasons, but I want to save those for the episode.
Get him, Jelani, get him.
I will not think that you're immature if you like them. I'm honestly really, really curious because there's just so much baggage attached to those movies for everyone else that you do not have. So that's why I'm so interested if you not having the baggage actually makes them a much better experience is most of why I want to like shield you from all other things Middle Earth before we do this. Those will be our next 2 episodes. I am very excited about that. And then we have our logo by Kelsey Hendry. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok at INT Analysis Pod. I am on Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and Instagram at Ev_Wes. Where are both of you guys?
I'm on Instagram at Jelani T. Kelly. I am on Actors Access and Backstage. Same name, Jelani T. Kelly. I'm looking for work. I'm getting a lot of auditions, but ain't nobody talking to me after. So, if you're willing to pay me for my time, say what's up. And I'm thinking of maybe getting back on Twitch. I don't know what I'd do. Maybe go back to writing or something, but I need something to do in the meantime while I'm waiting in between acting jobs. That isn't a 9 to 5. So, and buy my books. If you look me up on Amazon, you look my name up. Even if you just put, I think if you just put Jelani Kelly, you don't even have to add the T. I have 5 books on Amazon, 2 of which are novels you can read. 3 children's books, and I'm working on more. I have another novel that's finished that wasn't picked up by any literary agents just yet, and now I'm working on a one-shot. I just got chapter 1 done of that, so maybe that'll sell more. Maybe that'll build some faith with literary agents. I don't know. Descended Awakening is the first book you can look up on Amazon.
And then Anticipation is the second.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those are. I will be reading those soon. By the way, I have them.
I forgot you
I'm
bought
going to
them.
grab my copy from my
Yeah.
bookshelf to show people.
Yeah. No, they seem really, really good. I have them on my computer. I have to get to it. I have not been. I've been in kind of a reading slump lately, but I've been trying to. Oh, there it is. Look.
Yeah,
Evan,
This is Anticipation.
I actually don't even have
I love the cover.
Thank you. That's the second
You don't
one.
have
I actually don't even have the not for sale version. I have like an author's copy of book 2.
Okay.
Have the full thing.
Got you.
I mean, I don't promote it. I'm trying to promote it now because, it's out there. Why not? But
Yeah.
I wrote that in college, so my language has changed. So the next books you'll see from me are not even comparable.
They're gonna
But
be very different.
I think it's still worth the read. It's a fun world.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
good world building in it. Angel, where are you
Oh,
at?
I have social media also. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at angelmichele.film. Evan, you listed a lot of things, so I don't remember if you said, but we are also on Instagram at INT Analysis Pod. I'm on
TikTok,
Letterboxd.
Blue Sky.
Yeah, we have a TikTok now, which will be in use when this episode comes out, if I can figure out how to use TikTok. I'm old, guys. I don't know how to use newfangled apps, but I'm really, really trying to. We're trying to get bigger on TikTok, too.
The only TikTok we know is
I
by
also-
Kesha. We're that old.
Yeah,
Cut
no,
that.
honestly,
Cut that.
honestly,
What?
honestly,
Cut
yes.
that.
Honestly, no, that is correct.
That was awful.
I'm also on Letterboxd at Serenity Cinema. I keep saying I'm gonna post more reviews, and I think I actually have recently, but I always put in like what I've been watching recently. I just watched Strangers Chapter 2, also surprisingly good. I watch a lot of stuff, and I record everything, so if you guys want to check that out, that'd be
Nine of
great.
7 Kingdoms.
Yeah, I need to
Yes.
check that out tonight. And you need to get on
the first
Letterboxd. You
episode
said
is
you would do
really
it last
good.
time, Jelani, and you're not
Yeah,
on.
Yeah,
I
no,
forgot.
actually,
I
Jelani,
forgot.
that's your
forgot.
homework. You have to make it. You have to make it before the next episode.
So that, and the first thing you can
Okay.
log, a Hobbit unexpected journey.
Yes,
I'll probably do Spider-Verse first.
Okay,
that's fair.
fair enough.
You said I can give star ratings, but I don't need to like give it a review, right?
Yeah, and you don't
No,
need to give it
no.
star ratings either. You can just say that you've watched it. If
Oh,
you're
The way it
cool.
works
This is really
is if you watch something, you can log it and say what date you watched it on, so you can kind of like track when you watch stuff, and it'll show up in your diary or whatever.
That. I'll probably do it from a certain point on. But
if you've seen a movie and you don't remember when you watched it, you don't have to log it. You could just rate it, and you can also write a review under either of those if you want to. You can also write multiple reviews. So if you rewatch it and you want to write another review of like, oh, I revisited this after a year, you can do that too. But you don't have to do any of that.
Reviews are like not at all obligatory. Like there is no mechanism that's
they're
going
very
to
optional.
Like, ask you to do that to like be able to participate in stuff. Like you can be very active on there and never write a single review. So
cool.
You can even log something
working with somebody
and not
direct.
You can even log something and say that you watched it and not rate it if you don't want to rate it.
Letterboxd sponsor us. We'll shill so hard for you.
No, honestly, I use Letterboxd like every day. It's so fun.
I think that's when we made it as a podcast. When we have to start doing ad reads, that's it.
Yeah. So Letterboxd, get us to the big time. On that note, we'll see you guys next time for Unexpected Journey.
Adios.